governors make you a minority. Another election, another bust. Go vote for that liar. It's a must. We were given the greatest gift of all. Decided to give it up and watch the fall. Yeah, it's just a clown world. We're living in a clown world. Join us in the clown world. It's easy to see that the joke's on you and the joke's on me.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is Wednesday, June 24th, 2026. Welcome into your home for political play-by-play. The Owen Report today. What do you guys want to do today? You want to swim in the reflecting pool? We've got two options for you pretty much right now. As far as American politics are concerned, you've got two options. You can swim in the reflecting pool, which we're actually not sure if you can. It may or may not be filled right now. So actually, we're not sure about that. There might be a fence around it. You might have to go around a security checkpoint. But you know what? It's still an option. You can swim in the reflecting pool, or you can get involved in the Middle East. These are your two options today. Get involved in the Middle East or take a dip in the reflecting pool. How is it? How is it? Are you sick of winning yet? Or I guess, actually, you can go to the other side of the aisle and be a socialist. I guess you can do that. I guess there is an alternative option. But for normal patriotic Americans, what do we do, guys? Just take your honk pill. Take your honk pill and just go out into the clown world and do as the clowns do. That's what it is today, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I've got two guests coming up today. I've got enough content to do 3 hours, but I've got two guests coming up. We're going to have Carolyn Borisenko on in the second hour because after last night's results, we were going back to some of the statements I made 1 year ago, some of the statements I made 2 years ago, talking about what was happening with the left, what was going to happen with the midterms, what was going to happen with foreign policy, specifically with the results we saw last night. And it was Carolyn Borisenko who had similar predictions, but it's really not even a prediction. I mean, you can call it a prediction because it hasn't happened yet, but you don't really predict that the sun is going to rise. You know the sun is going to rise. So this is stuff we knew was going to happen. So we're going to be going over all of that with her. And then I got Clayton Morris from Redacted coming on with us in the third hour. It's going to be very open with Clayton, I imagine. We'll just get into all of the craziness here. But man, you know, I got to tell you guys, it's just, isn't it getting old? Isn't it getting old, guys? It really is. The whole thing is getting old. I'm getting sick of it. And I'm going to get into, we're going to try to do as much as we can before our guests come on today. But I'm going to look at all the responses last night to this. They're calling it a socialist sweep. We saw this coming miles away. We've been predicting this for years. And they're calling it a socialist sweep, and the Republicans are freaking out. And they're going back to their old talking points, their own propaganda, their old narratives. It doesn't work anymore. They're flailing around today. And then they're making the big request. And then after all of it, after the same propaganda, after the same panic, they're making the same request today. Which is, hey, you, the original Trump base, you, the Trump voters, with your principles, you have to sacrifice all of that for the foreign interest so that we can beat Democrats, so that we can beat socialists, so that we can beat Muslims. All we're asking for conservatives is to just sacrifice your principles, sacrifice your values, give it all up for the foreign interests, give it all up for the foreign lobby. That's all we ask. And then we can team up and stop the socialists. And this is their big ask today. Now, even if we were to engage or consider such a compromise, even if such a negotiation were to go down, what they fail to realize is that it would not matter. It would not make a difference. You can try to convince all of these people in the new media, the influencers, however you want to describe it. You can try to convince all these people, we need to influence people to beat the socialists, to beat the Democrats. That game is over. This is not 2016. This is not 2024. This is 2026, and the game is perception. And you guys have lost the perception narrative. You have lost the optics. You have lost the moral high ground. You have lost half of your voters, likely, at least the ones that matter, the ones that will decide an election. And all you ask is that we sacrifice our principles and our values for the foreign interest. That's all you ask. It won't make a difference, but that's all you ask. Of course, you'll never make the sacrifices. None of you made a sacrifice to get Trump into office. You're never on the sacrificial side of these negotiations. No, you're always on the, we're going to take everything that you've worked for and we're going to co-opt it. And then we're going to come back to you with an offer for you to get any say in your own movement that you created. And this is their ask today. Now, I'm going to be going over all of these responses. It's getting so old. It's really just getting so old. I'm sure a lot of people feel the same way out there. I think this is why people are leaving. They're losing interest in politics left and right, is what's going on. And now I'm shocked, guys. I am shocked that Brandon Dilley and Dana Lesh and Ben Shapiro and Cam Higbee and the rest, I'm shocked that they can't win over voters. I'm stunned that they can't have influence over outcomes and that people don't think they're cool. I'm stunned. I mean, honestly, I'm shocked. I'm shocked. And now you're getting you're getting shown up by Hassan Piker. That's what's happening now. Yeah. No, it's funny to me. It's definitely funny to me. But I'm sorry. We're not going to sacrifice our principles. We're not going to sacrifice our values. We're not going to let you hold us hostage just because we're about to get election results that we don't like. That's not how this is going to go down. And you guys just haven't figured it out yet. Now, I think the big question is, and I don't even intend to get into this today. I don't want to. Maybe with our guests. But I think the big question now is, are they going to hit us before or after the midterms? Right? I mean, that's really the big question. Are they going to hit us before or after the midterms? What is it going to be? Are they going to wait and say, okay, let's take our shot at the midterms. Let's pretend like we're going to focus on domestic issues. Let's pretend like we're getting out of the Middle East, getting out of this Iran situation that's so unpopular. It's like, all right, let's do a couple months of pretending like we're going to get back on track. And then after the midterms, and then boom, they're going to hit us with the big one that's going to get us back into the Middle East, crash the economy, crash the oil markets, everything else. Obviously, we hope this doesn't happen. Let's be clear. But it does seem like that's kind of the big question. We see the desperation for this war with Iran. We see the desperation to force this unpopular foreign policy in the Middle East through with President Trump because there's nobody after him. That's it. This is their last shot, is with Trump. So you know they're going to do anything and everything they possibly can So are they going to hit us before or after the midterms? When is the big hit going to come? And that says, oh, yeah, we got to get back into a war. Oh, yeah, we need boots in the ground. Or whatever it is to bring in the AI surveillance state. Seems like that's the big question right now. So we're going to get into that, I think, with our guests. But I'm going to look at the responses from last night, and we're going to try to sort this out. I've got a lot of clips. We've got a lot of the commentary responses here on X. And it's just incredible, guys. You know, I feel bad for the American people now because the media landscape is so pathetic. It really is. It's just pathetic. And you deserve so much better. You really do. But it's pathetic out there. It's pathetic. And it's so pathetic. It's so nauseating now. People don't even want to hear about politics anymore. They don't want to listen to politics anymore. It's all just obnoxious. So I apologize. It should be better. It shouldn't be like this, guys. It shouldn't be like this. But that's what it is. And so that's what we have to do today. That's what we're going to have to do. All right. So get ready. Get ready because we're going to try to sort it all out for you here today on the Owen Report. Today's show is brought to you by our friends at Patriot Protect. What are you doing to protect your private information on the internet? Your address, phone number, email address. It can even be as pervasive as social security numbers, debit card numbers. You say, well, how can people get information to this? Well, you've got subscriptions. You've bought things online. These companies get hacked. And then those hackers sell that data to data brokers that then they post online for sale. Trust me, I've had to deal with it in the past. It's not fun. I wish I would have had Patriot Protect sooner. Then I wouldn't have had to deal with it. And it is a headache, let me tell you, especially if you've ever had to deal with something like debit card or bank fraud. Oh, my gosh, pain in the butt. I wish before I had to deal with that, I had Patriot Protect. But you don't have to wish. You can do it right now. All you got to do is go to patriot-protect.com/Owen to become unsearchable. And for my listening audience, 15% off any plan. You heard that right, 15% off any plan. You give them all the information you don't want posted online. They scrub it all off the internet. The work doesn't stop there. They monitor the internet 24/7 to make sure the information doesn't pop up again. And if it does, they wipe it clean. You'd be amazed how much work this takes if you try to do it yourself. It's not fun. Just hire the pros. Hire the pros. That's my suggestion. That's what I did. Patriot-protect.com/Owen. Promo code Owen gets you 15% off any plan. You heard that right. Promo code Owen, 15% off any plan.
On the cutting edge of news and analysis, the Owen Report with Owen Schroyer.
Do you guys remember? You may have forgotten. It's been so long. It was just a week ago. That's how long it's been. You remember just a week ago, here I was sitting in the Owen Report garage studio, and I had hope. I did. I had hope. I thought maybe things were going the right direction. Maybe we were getting back on track. Maybe the Republicans were going to realize that the current direction was going to cost us everything. And now here we are today, and I'm not hopeless. I'm not even, I'm just numb. I'm just over it. And you know, it's ironic how misunderstood the whole world is as far as the Americans' perception of politics. It's like 95% of the political media right now that you could tune into is just totally not even in the arena. They're just not even close to touching reality. It's pretty wild, actually. It's pretty wild. And they send, you know, every once in a while, Fox News will send a reporter out on the streets, and they've got one of their news girls out on the streets. I've got the clip, and it's all these people in the streets bitching about AIPAC, and they're stunned. They're like, "Oh my gosh, how could this be? What's going?" It's like, no, you guys don't live in reality. You have no clue what's going on out there. None, and it shows. It's embarrassing. So I wouldn't even say I'm not like upset. I'm not hopeless. I'm not depressed. I'm just so over it, man. Everybody's just so over this crap. It's obnoxious. The whole thing is just obnoxious. It's like, oh my gosh, look at the poor. Oh, MAGA. Oh, poor MAGA. Oh my gosh. Communists and socialists and Democrats and Muslims. Oh my gosh, what have you done? What have you done? What are you doing? We warned about this a year ago, and you called us panicans, and you said you didn't want us. You said you didn't need us. Now you're standing here begging us, please help us stop the Muslims, help us stop the Democrats, help us stop the socialists, please. We're like, okay, can you please get out of the Middle East? Okay, can you please stop with the foreign interest? That's all we ask. Well, no, we can't do that. Well, then I don't know what you want from me. I can't help you. There is nothing you can do as long as you are attached at the hip to this foreign lobby and the Middle East. There is nothing I can do for you. You could pay me $100 billion to try to convince everyone I know, oh, you got to support Republicans no matter what. It's not going to change anything. The influence game is over. It's all about perception now. This is the problem with the political commentary world. They're 5 to 10 years behind. There is a delayed reaction. There is a delayed response mechanism in the political commentary world. And so all of these people that were years behind us on Trump, the Dana Leshes, the Mark Levins, the new MAGA Inc., the neocons, the foreign lobbyists, all of them that were years behind us on Trump. Now they're big on Trump. Now they're high on Trump. Now they're on the Trump train. They're 10 years behind the current timeline. And they still think it's about influence. And so the people that were ineffective, in fact, the people that were defeated in 2016, the people that we defeated, the people that MAGA, the original MAGA, the people that we defeated, and then had no influence in 2024, they still think it's about influence. So they're still searching for that. They're still trying to catch that gear and then say, oh, we're the influencers now. We've gotten rid of all the neo-Nazis. We've gotten rid of all the woke right. We're the influencers now. We're MAGA now. And they're just basically basking in the glory of our victory. They're playing with the fruits of our success. And they're sitting there thinking, it's still about influence. I can influence the midterms. I can influence 2028. No, it's not about influence. Now it's about perception. And the perception is that all of you are sellouts. The perception is that all of you are traitors. It's not about influence anymore. It's about perception. This is why the only time Dan Bongino can get any attention is when he's crashing out on a show about why the MAGA base is split. It happened again. I've got the clip. So it's just kind of obnoxious right now, having to deal with this every day. I think people are sick of it. I wonder if you're sick of it. I imagine you're sick of it. I consider this. I think about this. I don't want you to have to tune in here and listen to crap that you're sick of. I don't have to talk about this every day. I'm sick of it, but this is the political play-by-play. This is what's happening. Now, we're going to get into some of this with Carolyn Borisenko coming up in the second hour, because I know that she was predicting this as well. I don't like to call it a prediction. I don't predict that the sun is going to rise. I know the sun is going to rise, but I guess, until it happens, it's considered a prediction. So this was a year ago, almost exactly a year ago. I do have another year ago thing coming up this week, but we'll get to that later. This was me 1 year ago, actually June 17th, 2025. This is what I posted on June 17th, 2025. Congrats to the newcomer MAGA grifters who are celebrating another war. You won. Enjoy your celebration for what you think is a win, but prepare for the 6-year hangover. Dems will win midterms in 2028. And then here's the one that's really on point today. This is the closing statement that I made a year ago, over a year ago, that now you look at after last night and you say, wow, yeah, you called it. You'll have more socialism and more radical Islam in the West than ever. Congrats.
And that's another home run from the great Babe Ruth.
And you may have seen that InfoWars fan puts out a lot of great clips of the show, was putting up a clip from earlier last year as well, where I'm basically saying the exact same thing on air. So there you go. This was the most easily predictable thing I've ever seen. I've explained this whole phenomenon, how we've got here, where it's going, to such a degree that I think we're all sick of it, including myself. And so now we just have to sit here and watch it play out. And I'm not really sure where the middle goes here. I'm not really sure what happens with the people in the middle, the people that feel abandoned by both parties, the people that feel politically homeless, the people that feel betrayed, the people that are searching for new options. I'm really not sure where you go right now. Hopefully you come here at least, maybe, if you want to at least keep up with news and information. Maybe get a laugh, maybe get a laugh at my expense. Maybe we laugh together. Maybe you laugh at me. It's all fine. It's fine with me. But I don't know. I don't know where you go, honestly. And none of us want to sit here and watch socialists take over the country. None of us want to sit here and watch Democrats run off election victories. The problem is the pain of that is not as bad as the pain of the betrayal that we've gotten from Trump. And so because of this, we have to weigh our options. We have to be pragmatic. We've realized there's no path forward through the current status of the Republican Party. There's an obstacle in your way. It's the foreign lobby. You can't get through that. So there is no path to success to save the country through the Republican Party. It just doesn't exist. We've just tried. We've had the biggest victory ever. And now here we are. And it's the same blockade. It's the same obstacle. It's the same immovable object. So there's no path there. So now we have to sit here and watch the Democrats run off election victories. We don't want to see it. It's not fun. But we're still a little jilted here because of the betrayal and the fact that, the Republican Party is just totally a vehicle for the foreign interests, not us. Okay. So because of that, the whole crying about socialists and Democrats and Islam, it just doesn't really register. it doesn't really register coming from the people that just betrayed the movement, betrayed the country, and sold us out. You know, a bunch of sellouts, a bunch of traitors saying, hey, these guys over here are bad. Well, your words mean nothing to us. Your words are completely valueless here. And now you're reaping what you sowed. And we warned this would happen. But I'm ranting. Let's get to this. We got a couple of statements from Trump, and then we will look at some of the responses. So first from Trump, this was last night. The big oil companies are not dropping their price at the pump, commensurate with the sharply lower prices they are paying for oil. Those prices are dropping like a rock. In other words, customers are being gouged. This is what they said in the Biden years. So, yeah, all that talk about Democrats, now Trump is talking exactly as the Democrats did in the Biden years. That's ironic. I've instructed the DOJ to immediately start looking into this. That's nothing. There's no investigation. That's just total BS. Gasoline prices better start going down a lot faster than what I'm seeing. Now, the price per barrel has dropped back to where it was about a year ago. So you're still not down in the, you're going to be paying $2 for gasoline, but you're back into, you're probably paying $3. Hopefully you can get out of the fours at, 70, 80 dollars a barrel, which is where it's at. But the prices aren't going down. The prices are still in the fours, mostly around the country. You're paying $4 or more per gallon. Some parts you have a limit. You have a limit on how much you can even purchase. So I don't think there's anything to this. I don't think the gas, maybe they're gouging. Maybe that goes on. Maybe it doesn't. But that's not the issue here. I feel like there's something else happening, and the stock market is kind of indicating this as well. I think there's going to be another pump and dump, at least one more on the stock market is how I'm kind of seeing it. But with the oil prices, I feel like there is a manipulation happening of the price per barrel right now. And I think they have drained the strategic oil reserves. They've tried to get as much oil to the market as possible to get this price down, and they've been able to get it down. But the gas companies have no faith that it's going to stay there. That's what I think is happening. I think that the oil companies have no faith that $70, $80 a barrel gasoline is going to last very long. And all of the pumping of the strategic oil reserves into the market is a synthetic Band-Aid to put on the real status. So that's how I interpret this. I think the reason gas prices aren't going down is because nobody here in the oil industry is convinced that this war in Iran is coming to an end anytime soon. Nobody in the oil industry is convinced that there's any control or any consistency as far as the Strait of Hormuz is concerned. And maybe more frighteningly, the oil companies think there's about to be a major energy crisis. And so because of these factors, they're not dropping their prices yet. And it seems like Trump is now running into all of these issues that he caused. And so he's calling members of Congress and he's bitching and complaining and they're giving him the stonewall. He'll probably be calling the big oil companies. He's going to bitch and complain. They're going to give him the stonewall. And none of it had to happen. None of this had to happen, guys. I didn't have to wake up today like you and hear more about the Middle East in a reflecting pool, but here we are. Here we are. They can't even get a SAVE Act passed. I don't even have the SAVE Act really in the news. I got this statement from Trump, but I'll get into the SAVE Act here. This was the statement from Trump. Today's housing news conference and signing is hereby canceled until such time as we pass the desperately needed Save America Act, which I consider to be a national emergency. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Well, this is unfortunate because the housing news conference and signing is something they're trying to do to fix the housing market. That's a disaster. So it looks like they're just going to derail that now. So that's not happening. So houses won't be affordable. Mortgage rates might even go up. Interest rates might even go up. all because of this war for the foreign interests. Oh, yeah. Oh, Democrats, social. You guys sold us out, man. You sold us out. Shut up. Screw you. Screw you. Don't sit here and lecture us. Don't sit here and finger wag us. You guys sold us out. That's what happened. You don't get to sell us out. You don't get to betray the American people and then sit here and stare at us and point at us. Sit down. Sit down. So great. So now we're not going to address the housing issue. And then, oh, it's for the SAVE Act. Folks, even the SAVE Act, I'm sorry, but even the SAVE Act is a joke. I don't even care. Honestly, I don't even care. The SAVE Act is a joke. And they can't even pass it. It's all about federalizing elections. Do we have election issues? Of course we do. Most of the SAVE Act, the two main issues with the SAVE Act is federalizing elections, which maybe you support, maybe you don't. As a concept, I don't support that. But it's like, I guess if that's the only way you can have a fair election, if you believe that's the case, then okay, whatever. No, the SAVE Act is all about federalizing elections. And it does nothing about the actual issues of voting machines. So yeah, you can pass the SAVE Act, you can federalize elections, and then you can have this redundancy factor of all the laws that are already on the books. It's like most of these laws already exist. You have to be a citizen to vote. You have to have voter ID. Like most of this is just redundancy factor stuff, and then adding some new layers of precaution, which you can say is necessary to clean up voter rolls, make sure dead people aren't voting, illegals aren't voting, et cetera, et cetera. So it's not that it's all bad. It just means nothing. It's mostly symbolic. You're still going to have voting machines. You're still going to have your election issues. Nobody's going to have any faith in the elections. It's just, the whole thing is just a joke. The whole thing is just a joke. And if it's a national emergency, then what are we doing having elections right now? Oh, let's not give them any ideas. Let's not give them any ideas. So it's just, the whole thing is just a wash. Honestly. The whole thing is just a wash now. And I would, guys, really now is the time, and it's been like this, but now is the time for you to just get yourself as good as you can be. Get yourself as healthy as you can be. Get yourself as well off as you can be. I'd say the future is very uncertain right now. There is no course for America right now. There is no course. There is a course for the foreign interests, and there is a course for the socialists. That's pretty much it. If you're an American first patriot, if you're a conservative, there's no course. There's no path. There's no movement for you. You're either a pro-Israel loyalist, or you're a socialist. Those are the only political movements that are making any headway right now. That's it. Socialism and Israel. That's it. And most people don't like either of those things. Funny enough, most people don't like any of those things. But pragmatically, more people are going to go vote Democrat, even if they are socialists, just because they're offering something. Just because they're offering anything. Just because they're addressing the two biggest issues that Americans have right now as far as a policy is concerned, which is stopping all the wars, stopping the foreign influence, and stopping the AI data centers. And if you want to get into the economy, the Democrats are going to win on the economy now too. And how ironic is it? You know, Trump is out here saying, we need to lower gas prices. You guys have been campaigning that gas prices are down. For weeks, you've been saying gas prices are down. And now you come out and you make a statement that, oh, gas prices you're getting gouged. I mean, what is this? Oh yeah, you guys really care about socialism too. I love all these fake conservatives. All these fake conservatives. They really care about socialism, guys. They're so principled against socialism. That's why they love the foreign aid so much. That's why they won't stand up against the massive welfare state. They won't stand up against the foreign aid. It's just the whole thing is a joke. The whole thing is just a joke. So Trump said this yesterday as he was campaigning in Pennsylvania, telling everybody how great the economy is. Let's see. Trump. Are we going to address the Second Amendment here?
The NRA, everybody, they really have been. They've been with me right from the beginning. And Bill asked me, would I support the national right to carry legislation? How do you feel about national right to carry?
Yeah. Isn't that called the Second Amendment? I think that's called the Second Amendment, right?
That's my free poll. You know what that is? That's a free poll. I don't have to pay $300,000 to somebody that doesn't even do polling, you know, to give you phony numbers. See, those are...
Mr. President, listen. Mr. President. $300,000, Mr. President, and all of these pollsters are leading you wrong. $300,000. So see, people think I'm joking, and I'm kind of being facetious when I'm like, I'm giving these guys millions of dollars of political advice here. I that's actually serious. These people pay millions of dollars. Politicians, presidents, administrations, they pay millions of dollars on polling to try to get this information and understand what voters are thinking, and they can't get any of it right, and they just keep getting everything wrong. I give you guys millions of dollars of polling information here. I am a better pollster than pollsters. I give millions of dollars here for free. I do it all for free. And then they just sit here and they can't figure out why socialists are winning. They can't figure out why Democrats are winning. Here's one for you in case this wasn't as obvious as it's ever been. Just 1 in 4 Americans believes the Iran war was worth the cost. Just 1 in 4 Americans. Well, guess what? They vote. So 3 out of 4 Americans don't support this war. And that's likely what's going to flip everything back to the Democrats. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So they're shocked. They're shocked at Fox News. Stunned. They send a reporter out to the streets, and the people are complaining about AIPAC. How can this be? We didn't tell them that. We didn't tell them to complain about AIPAC. We didn't tell them about AIPAC's control over Congress. Why are they out there in the streets? We control their thoughts. We control their minds. We didn't tell them about AIPAC. How can this be happening?
And the Mamdani effect, from what I've seen and what I've been following him and talking to voters here, I'll just end on this, is that they talk about affordability, right? They top their messaging with affordability. They say they're for the working class. Then they tie in AIPAC. They want to abolish ICE, and then they end it on affordability. So people remember that sticking point. But yesterday I was talking to people that were in line for a food bank, had no money, and they were talking to me too about AIPAC. So something's going on. Something's changed here in New York City.
No, it's the whole country. It's the whole country. And it's really not confusing. It's actually very elementary. It's actually very basic. Most Americans are struggling to get by. Most Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. Okay? That is the financial reality of most Americans. There's no extra money for them. There's no extra money laying around. They're already maxed out. They're already maxed out on work, on hours, everything. Maxed out on bills. Everything's maxed out. And then every time they turn around, there's another $100 million for a foreign interest. Every time the American pays his bill, pays her bill, every time the American looks at their budget again and sweats a little bit, Every single time they turn on the news, they turn on the TV, they open the internet, they open the paper, and what is it? Another 100 million for the Middle East, another 100 million for Ukraine, every single day. Oh, and AIPAC. Oh, let's talk about AIPAC. Here you are, the Republicans, and it's all hands on deck for the SAVE Act. It's all hands on deck. It's a national emergency. We got to get the SAVE Act passed. Well, where's AIPAC? I thought this is, I thought AIPAC was all American. I thought AIPAC was big for Trump, big for America. Where's AIPAC? Where is the AIPAC-controlled Congress? Why can't AIPAC call up its Congress members that it owns, 95% of our Congress, owned by AIPAC? Why can't AIPAC pick up the phone and lobby votes for the SAVE Act? They have the numbers. AIPAC has more than enough votes that they own in Congress to pass the SAVE Act. Why aren't they doing it? And we know they can do it because every time AIPAC picks up the phone for a war, they get it. Every time AIPAC picks up the phone for Israel's interests, there's no resistance in D.C., none. They own both sides of Congress. They own 95% of Congress. So here's AIPAC. They can get anything done for the foreign interest. But, the SAVE Act, where's AIPAC? Where's all that AIPAC influence? Where's all that AIPAC-controlled votes in Congress? They can't get the SAVE Act passed? And then they sit here and they say, gee, why are people so upset over AIPAC? Why are people so upset over another war? And they have no clue at all the reality of the average American's political thoughts, political beliefs, financial situation, financial thoughts. They have none. Can you imagine? I mean, that's how out of touch they are. Fox News, that's like one of their top field reporters. Fox News sends their top field reporter out into the field, and she's shocked. They're talking about AIPAC. What is going on? Why is this AIPAC? Everyone's talking about AIPAC. How can this be? You're asleep. You're clueless. Get out of your bubble. How can it? Oh my gosh. Where's your AIPAC? Where is your AIPAC vote for the SAVE Act? I'm just curious, because you guys love AIPAC so much and the SAVE Act is so important. Where is the AIPAC demanding the Congress that they own to pass the SAVE Act? Where is that? Oh, that's right. Because AIPAC doesn't give a damn who wins the election. They own both sides. AIPAC doesn't give a damn who wins the election. Now, funny enough, they might want to start thinking about it. AIPAC might want to start thinking about maybe we do need Republicans to win the election, because in case you didn't notice, the Democrats have turned on AIPAC, and the Democrat voters are electing candidates that refuse money from AIPAC and directly address AIPAC. So, AIPAC actually might have a little more interest than they realize in getting the SAVE Act passed, if they really believe that that is for election integrity. But it's really not. It's really just a game. And I've never understood, if you want to do voting machines, why don't we have a transparent process? I think we should do paper ballots. I don't think we should even do voting machines. You should get one ballot, a piece of paper, and that should be your vote. It's how most people have voted throughout this country's history, but okay, fine. If we want to use voting machines, honestly, this is how they should do it. This is how the voting machines would work. I'm 100% convinced that this is the only way to do it if you're going to do voting machines. Whatever, let's say there's 2-3 tabulators at your polling place. So you go do the vote on the machine. It prints out your ballot for you, and then you slide it into that final Scantron before you leave. So that final Scantron should have a screen, basically, a TV screen, a monitor. And when you plug in, and it should have live results on the monitor. And when you put your vote into the machine, you should be able to watch the numbers on that machine change in real time. And then you can sit there and say, okay, all the candidates that I voted for, their tally just went up by 1. My vote counted for the right votes. I'm good. I'm out of here. Why wouldn't we do that? What harm does that do at all? Do we not have the rights to know the result of the election? Do we not have the right to see and make sure our vote is being counted right? If we're going to do this whole thing on machines, if we're not going to get rid of the machines, then let's go all the way. Let's do full transparency. Let's do full trust. Let's do full faith. Let's have full confidence that if we're going to use this machine, if I'm going to plug my vote into a machine blindly, I want some sort of an evidence that my vote is being tabulated correctly. I don't want to hear any counterpoints. I'm 100% right on this. If you're going to do voting machines, you need to have a live tracker, a live monitor up on the thing. When you put in your vote and it does the final tally, you should be able to watch it click up on the voting machine on the screen. I don't want to hear any pushback. I don't want to hear about how it's bad. I'm done. I'm not going to, you cannot tell me that the voting machine process is trustworthy. You cannot tell me that you have full confidence in a voting machine process when you're sliding your ballot into that thing and it gives you nothing. You just put it in there and it's just gone and you just assume everything went right. This is just, it's too much, guys. It's too much common sense. This is just too much common sense. All right, I've got a longer Fox News clip here that I want to get to. And it's just, I just want to pick this apart. I just want to pick this apart bit by bit to just show how ridiculous this is, how out of touch these people are.
Echelons of the Democrat Party, all those people who held office forever, seat after seat after seat after seat.
Oh, you mean like Mitch McConnell? You mean like Lindsey Graham endorsed by Trump? Just give me a break.
And they're waking up to a new normal this morning. And some of them thought that they could just ride it out into the sunset. We'll see.
So there you go. So, oh, look, the Democrats are replacing their swamp creatures. Oh, look, the Democrats are replacing their geriatrics. Oh, look, the Democrats are replacing the politicians that they view as corrupt. Meanwhile, Trump is endorsing the ones we view as corrupt. Trump is ousting the few Republicans that we like. Oh, I can't figure out why Democrats are winning. And by the way, this is all part of the Democrats letting the younger generation come of age and start to take control of the party. And the geriatrics are refusing to let the younger generation conservatives take over the party. And we all know why, because they've just been stealing money from this country. They have been using government for their interest to enrich themselves, and they know the younger generations are a threat to that gravy train. So they're not going to give us the party. So the gravy train ride continues. While the Democrats, I'm no socialist, but let's be honest, they're serious about winning. They're serious about winning, and they're letting the younger generation start to have their day now. Oh, but the GOP establishment, they just won't let go. They're just gonna drain everything they can out of the right-wing movement for the donor class before they all just move on.
About that. Alexis, thank you. Right. Countless headlines now echoing the massive effect on the political landscape. Here's a tiny sample. By
the way, do you guys remember when Mamdani was in the primaries and I was being interviewed about Mamdani and I even made a bet? And people were laughing at me because I told them Mamdani would win, and I predicted Mamdani would win. And I made bets on air. I made bets on social media with people that were saying there's no chance Mamdani wins. It's like this stuff is so. How can people not see this? Honestly,
Mamdani emerges as kingmaker. Primary forecasts future for Democrats, and socialist earthquake leaves Democrats reeling. House Speaker Mike Johnson.
The Democrats are not reeling. The Democrats are loving this. Are you kidding me? Where are the Democrats reeling?
From moments ago describing socialists. Look at this.
The establishment is reeling.
Democrats have candidates winning primaries and rising through the ranks. Here's a few of them. Vang in California, one of the Democrats, she won't say the Pledge of Allegiance. Hamaway in New Jersey, Democrat candidate, socialist candidate, has ties to Al-Qaeda and other terrorists. Chevalier won last night in New York over Hakeem's counter endorsement. She says she wants to abolish the border. She doesn't want a border for the country. Mendoza in Arizona wants to decriminalize trans prostitution. Apparently that's a thing. James in Iowa wants to apologize for being white. Gary Ott in Iowa performed a Satanist wedding. And Bennett in New Jersey stopped going to church because Trump voters were there. This is just a sampling. And these kind of people have been popping up. You've been hearing me say for weeks, there are many Mamdanis popping up all around the country. It is.
What happened to we're going to be tired of winning? What happened to we're going to be so sick and tired of winning? And don't pretend like you guys don't know what you did, because you're all finally admitting it today. They're all admitting it. They're saying, oh, your anti-Semitism, your hatred, your anti-Israel stuff, it's costing us elections. It's costing us the midterms. It's giving the socialists the party. So you're admitting it. So you guys are foreign loyalists, and we're not. And you're blaming us because socialists are taking over because we refuse to be foreign loyalists. So it's the mask off continues. So the mask off moment continues. Now that we've been right about everything, they have to kind of change their messaging and try to use this new reversal to blame it on us. It's like, oh, you did this because you wouldn't be loyal to the foreign policy. You did this. So you're admitting it. It's you being loyal to the foreign interests that causes most people to turn off from voting Republican. And now you're watching socialists take over and you're blaming us, but you're admitting it's your policies that did it. Thank you.
It's a dangerous thing. This is not a joke. We're in a fight right now to save the republic.
Oh, I love it. Oh, I love it. Oh, it's all over today, guys. It's all over today. We're in a fight to save the republic. The drama from the Republicans today. Oh, where has this fight been? I'm just so curious. Where has this fight been for the last 500 days? Where has this fight been against Alejandro Mayorkas, who led the biggest invasion in the history of the world into our country? Where is this fight when it comes to Anthony Fauci and the lies of COVID and the deadly vaccines? Where is this fight when it comes to the debt, $40 trillion? Where is this fight when it comes to all the foreign aid that we dole out while Americans can't even afford groceries? Oh, we're in a fight for the republic. Where is the fight? Tell me, where is your fight, Mike Johnson? Tell me, where is the fight? Because I don't see it. I don't see mass deportations. I don't see massive government reform. I don't see the debt going down. I don't see us getting out of globalism. I don't see us getting out of the Middle East. Where is this fight for the republic? You know, we keep hearing you guys talk about this fight for the republic, and yet we don't see you fighting for the republic. We see you fighting for a foreign country is what we see. That's what we see. That's what everybody sees. And you're admitting it now, by the way. You're not even hiding it anymore, and you're demanding that we fight for the foreign interests with you. But see, this is the big moment because they know what gets us involved. And that's the country. We care about the country. We actually care about the future of the United States of America. So now they're trying to sell it to us again. The people that they've stabbed in the back, the people that they've betrayed, the people that view them as traitors. Now this is their pitch to us again because they know we care about the country. So hey, the country is in danger. We need you guys again. The country is in danger. I know. And if you guys cared about the country, maybe it wouldn't be in so much danger. If you guys actually cared about the country as much as you pretend to care about the country, maybe there wouldn't be so much danger. But yet here we are. Here we are, and your one ask, your one demand is that, hey, in order to keep socialists and Democrats out of office, we just need you guys to be loyal to the foreign interests. That's all we ask of you. Well, that's not very popular over here. That's not very popular in American conservative politics. And so you're going to keep asking us to do this, but we're never going to be traitors to this country. That's something you guys are okay with, not us.
You're listening to the Owen Report on the Win Network.
All right, guys, it's another day where the stock market is just crazy. If you've got your stocks and you're looking at them today, you're like, what am I doing? I don't even know. Do I get rid of it? Do I hold? Do I sell? What do I do? Well, it gets to be a bit of a headache. You know what you don't have to think about? Precious metals, gold. That one's easy. Just hold. Just hold on to it as long as you want. That's what I like to do. And you can keep it right there at your house, right there in the safe. So you've got it all the time. So if you're thinking about, my finances, my wealth, what do I want to do? You've probably considered precious metals. You've probably considered gold. Go with my friends at Allegiance Gold. My friends at Allegiance Gold, go to protectwithowen.com. Now, here's the thing. They want to make sure that you are fully confident when you make the decision about your finances, of course, and that's what you want too. And you also want a company that has an A-plus review, A-plus with the Better Business Bureau. That's what you want. That's what you need. That's Allegiance Gold. With nearly 10,000 clients nationwide, they still keep that A-plus with the Better Business Bureau. You can give them a call. The call is free, 844-790-9191. That's 844-790-9191. And ask them about $5,000 in free gold and silver with qualified investments. Whether through your 401k, IRA, or savings, they make it simple to move into something real before the next reset, which I think we all feel could be right around the corner. Give them a call, 844-790-9191, or go to protectwithowen.com. That's protectwithowen.com. Protect your wealth because no one else will.
Extra-dimensional and multi-universal. Here's your host, Owen Schroyer.
All right, we showed you some of the predictions that we made here that I guess you could say more proof, more evidence emerged last night with the socialists winning elections, the Islamists winning elections. Some of us predicted this would happen. It wasn't just me, though. Carolyn Borisenko predicted this as well, and it was last night. Some people reached out, and then Carolyn did herself. Said, hey, we got to get Carolyn on the show. She predicted a lot of this as well. Now, your angle was a little bit different than mine. You're more directly involved, boots on the ground level, kind of infiltrating this stuff, knowing how they operate, their get out the vote initiatives. So why don't you get into a little bit of that? For me, it's mostly perception and then the blind spot of the Republicans and the conservative media. But for you, it's boots on the ground. It's getting inside of their operations. Why did you believe that the results last night and the Socialists would take over the Democrat Party. Why did you think that would happen?
Yeah, I mean, it's really very simple. And listen, I agree with a lot of the stuff that you said as well, to be honest. I was listening to your take leading up to this. So I don't think that you're off base. But what I do is I go into leftist meetings, I record their private meetings, I put it out on the internet. So I'm basically listening to leftist strategy sessions in real time I've been doing this for the past several years. Now, the DSA in New York City specifically is an organization. I'm actually a member of it, not under my real name, obviously, but they can't figure out what name I'm using, so they can't stop me from recording them. And because I'm a member of theirs, I get into their private internal discussions about how they're doing their election organizing, how they are strategizing, and specifically what they're doing. And I think what most people don't really seem to even consider is that the DSA in New York City for the past 10 years has been building an absolute election machine where they have been, doing the work on the ground, the basic stuff that the Republicans aren't doing and the Democrats aren't doing. And I got into one meeting specifically that was right after Zoran Mandami won the Democratic nomination for mayor. And this was back, I think, in July of last year, and basically recorded their entire conversation, downloading the data of how they got him that nomination. And what happened was, quite simply, the Democratic Party took it for granted. They had all these elites that were giving Andrew Cuomo money, and they just thought he was absolutely going to win. And then the Republicans have completely abandoned New York entirely. And so there was no support for the Republican candidate at all. And the Democratic
actually endorsed Cuomo. The Republicans were on the Cuomo side.
Yeah, which is crazy in and of itself, because I mean, like Curtis Sowell has his faults, but they could have at least done something. But what the Democratic Socialists in New York City did specifically is they had over 50,000 individual volunteers working for that campaign. This is not paid protester. This is not Soros money. This is people who they have been rallying for the last decade to come out and to knock on doors, to make phone calls. They knocked on over 2 million doors in New York City. They made over 3 million phone calls by the time that election was over. They were targeting neighborhoods with a voter registration campaign that specifically had never turned out to vote for local candidates before. They also had a massive voter turnout campaign where they were making sure that all of those new voters that they registered actually went to the polls. And they were even targeting people who voted for Donald Trump. But in New York City, again, the Republicans have completely abandoned New York City. So no one was speaking.
Wait a second. Well, I gotta pause you right here for a second. Yeah. Because it sounds like what you're describing from the Democrat Socialists of America here. It sounds like what you're describing is what we were told groups like Turning Point USA were doing, individuals like Scott Presler were doing for the Republican Party. Now we see a lot of social media activity for them, but we don't really see any of that from the DSA. Do they intentionally keep this under wraps, or is it just I'm not looking for this stuff?
Oh, you're not looking for it. They are very, very public about this. I get emails about this all the time. I see actually where they do most of their social media organizing is Instagram, to be honest about it. They're not really on X. They don't really like that. They do use Blue Sky to a certain extent, but like Instagram is where they do the main work. And so I actually see their posts all the time. They have public meetings. They have private meetings just for members only. And so what they did after they won the Democratic nomination in New York is they started basically sending the New York DSA all over the country to all of these other little DSA hubs that were running local candidates, and they started exporting the strategy that has worked so well in New York City to other places. So it is a machino, and the DSA nationally just crossed their 100,000th dues paying member. They are bringing in over $18 million a year just to the national organization in dues. They are also doing fundraising in addition to that, where they have a national fundraising campaign called Socialist Cash Beats Capitalist Trash, where they're fundraising for their local candidates all over the country just by knocking on doors and asking for money.
Is this are they paying Hassan Piker?
No, they aren't paying him at all. In fact, like Hassan Piker, when you actually listen to real far left activists, is not terribly relevant, to be honest. They don't usually bother with a lot of the YouTube personalities, except every once in a while when it's beneficial to them.
I was curious because he was kind of taking a big victory lap last night. He was basically claiming major responsibility for some of these election results, which I don't know. It may or may not be true. You know more about what goes on underneath the skin of the left than I do. Sometimes I like to get into their surface level stuff on the streets. but you get a little bit underneath the skin. Well, I kind of even want to get into that in a moment here, but let's talk about the midterms. So the Democrats, at least the presentation today, has been that this is some sort of a shocking defeat for the Democrat Party. I mean, obviously, we know why the Republicans are freaking out. But there seems to even be, I don't really buy it, though. I don't think the Democrats are really panicked by this. I think the Democrats like it. They may pretend to be panicked for their donors, because I don't think their donors are big fans of the Democrat Socialists of America. I could be wrong. But no, I think the Democrats are actually very much supportive of this. I think the Democrats realize that because they're going to get the jump on the GOP as far as the youth vote and this new angst against the foreign policy is concerned, I think the Democrats have to look at last night's results and actually be happy. That's my interpretation.
You know, I very rarely listen to Democrats these days, so I'm not sure about that. But what I will tell you is the DSA hates the Democratic Party, does not view them as allies. They view this as a hostile takeover effort. In fact, if you look at the DSA social media, and again, look at their Instagram feed, most of what they talk about is how much the Democrats suck, how much the Democrats don't support them, how much they have to replace them. And so they actually end up talking about how much they hate the Democrats way more than the Republicans.
So the dissident left is actually having success now. The dissident left is having success in these primaries, where the dissident right is basically getting crushed. I mean, let's just say what it is. The dissident right, the anti-establishment right, we've been crushed. They've basically announced that they want us crushed, which is kind of ironic. I didn't intend to get in this with you today, but isn't it ironic that they're the ones that kicked us out? They're the ones that kicked us to the curb and tried to stomp on our face and spit on us. And now they're coming back to us saying, hey, come on now, here, get out of that gutter I kicked you into and help us defeat the socialists. Excuse me?
Oh, I have very distinct opinions about this. I could rant for a while about this. Oh, and do you realize one of the last times I was so I go undercover with the left in person as well. And I was actually in Portland, outside of the Portland ICE facility. I wasn't undercover. I was actually wearing a full anti-communist t-shirt with Joseph McCarthy on it. The last time I was physically attacked by someone, it was a MAGA supporter who was drunk and on some sort of drugs outside of the Portland ICE facility. And he actually physically assaulted me because he convinced himself I was a member of Antifa. And then a clip of that went all over social media, promoted by Andy No, in which he took the side of the MAGA supporter that attacked me. And so I look at stuff like that, and I know how much I've tried to reach out to Republicans and conservatives and show them the data from the far left and show them the primary source evidence that I have, because I have thousands of hours of this stuff on video. They will not look at it. And so for me, I'm very much on the train of, like, in order to defeat the left, we need to go through the GOP. We need to go through the MAGA-tards and the conservative right, because if we rely on them, if we vote for them again, we are going to get nowhere. And I know people think that they're better than the left, but to be quite frank, I think that the left is running completely unopposed in this country because the right is not opposing them in any real way. And there is no way to defeat the left without first defeating the conservatives.
Yeah. And another way to put that, I think that the current mindset of Republicans, and maybe last night was some bit of a wake-up call. The current mindset of the Republicans is they can still run off of the momentum of 2024. Maybe they can even run off the popularity of Donald Trump. But what they don't understand is neither of those things exist anymore. The momentum is dead. The popularity of Trump is no longer there. And so they're reaching for these things to climb on to victory, and they just don't exist. And that's why I think, today we see this message in unison from the GOP simps out there and the foreign lobby simps. We see this unison message of, hey, we need you back. We have to defeat radical Islam. We have to defeat the socialists. It's like, like we told you this would happen when you were so callously beating us on the side of the curb here. And, now you want us back after you said that you didn't need us. And it's like, I don't even want to get into this fight because we are talking about the future of the country. But that's the thing. You just pointed it out. I don't know. I mean, where do you land now politically? Who knows? There's nowhere for you to land. It's just, you're on an island right now. We're all kind of searching our way through this. But it's like, we've realized now that using the Republican Party as a vehicle for reform is never going to happen. The current power structure and status of the Republican Party is never going to allow us to reform the country under the current power status. And so I get why people are like, well, why would you hand over the country to socialists? Why would you hand over the country to Democrats? Well, my other option is what? Hand over the country to foreigners, hand over the country to foreign loyalists, foreign interests, warmongers, big tech. Like, what is the proposal here? What is the negotiation here? You're just asking us to give up everything and vote for Republicans so you can keep this war going. And that's just not an agreement that we're going to make.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with this. And again, there's no one more interested in defeating the far left than I am. I literally spend my life studying these people, going undercover with these people, like trying to pick apart every part of their organizing strategy. There is nothing that the Trump administration is doing to defeat these people. And we can look at the fact that, listen, look at the fact that we were promised mass deportations. That never happened. Why did that never happen? Because the left has been doing anti-ICE organizing since literally the moment Trump took office. The protests that we see today about ICE are the same protests that were going on in January of 2025, and they never stopped. And the right never actually took this problem seriously. Every time it happened and there was another big protest or riot or something like that, the right made a big joke out of it and said they were paid protesters who don't have jobs, which isn't true on either account because they're doing a lot of leftist organizing through the labor unions. How do they control the labor unions if they don't have jobs? It's so stupid. It's a bizarre, unhinged from reality take. And so the reason that we're not getting mass deportations, quite frankly, is the left won. The left is winning. The left has chased the Trump administration out of multiple American cities, chased them out of Portland, chased them out of Los Angeles, chased them out of Chicago, chased them out of Minneapolis. And there is nothing that the Trump administration has been doing to counter this. In addition, Antifa was declared to be a terrorist organization well over a year ago. And yet we have these people who are committing acts of what I would call treason that aren't even being reprimanded with a slap on the wrist, let alone being thrown in prison for decades like they deserve and is going to be required if they're going to stop leftist organizing.
They did get those North Texas Antifa people. They did make some arrests here in Texas. I think it was the most notable so far, I would say. There hasn't been enough. But, this, when you go back, this was one of our big issues with Pam Bondi. And we were saying right out of the gates, hey, look, if you want to get these leftists out of the streets, you have to go after the NGOs. You have to go after the NGOs. You have to cut off their funding and you have to get them out of the streets. And they didn't do it. And then they end up going after, and notice how this story totally disappeared. I forget the leftist group that they ended up going after. And it wasn't even about the activism. It was about some financial fraud that they'll basically be able to take a slap on the wrist for and keep operating. And so because they never shut down these left-wing NGOs and they never arrested the people that were funding what they consider terrorist activity, it just continued. It never stopped.
Well, the lies about how the left is funded is another problem here because, quite frankly, even if they cut off every single cent of NGO money, they would not be cutting off far left fundraising because the left is funded by something called mutual aid. It's contributions from the community. And if you read the book by Dean Spade, literally called Mutual Aid, Dean Spade, by the way, is an activist probably most people here have never heard of. Dean Spade has raised more money for far left causes than any NGO, than any George Soros, than any of these things over the past 20 years that they've been active. If you read their book about it, they specifically denounce taking money from nonprofits and NGOs because it usually comes with the condition that they're nonviolent, and the left, of course, rejects that. And so, no, this money isn't coming from NGOs or Soros or Never Worry Singham or the CCP. That's all conservative cope that they literally don't have any evidence to back up. And that's one of the scariest things, Owen, because there is no head of the snake to cut off. There is no funding to cut off. These people need to be arrested. They need to be thrown in jail. And that is the only way that far left organizing in this country is going to stop.
It's so funny the way this is all shaking out because obviously we see the public response to the socialists winning and to Muslims winning elections. Like we see the public response in they're panicked. Oh my gosh, they're panicked. I think they're actually happy. Honestly, I think they're actually happy because otherwise, what are they going to run on? Now they can actually run on this and they say, hey, vote for us. We're not socialists. Hey, vote for us, radical Islam. Without that, I don't think they have anything. I don't really think they have anything to run on. So really, the Republicans are probably happy about this. And then on the other side of the aisle, the Democrats are loving this war. Oh, my gosh. Politically, they are loving this war in the Middle East because they know that this war in the Middle East is going to give them the midterms and give them the White House in 2028. So how funny is it? That's where you're at now. The political cycle is now the left does something so bad that the right gets to campaign on it, and the right does something so bad that the left gets to campaign on it. And neither of these so bad things are helping the American people.
Yeah, this is exactly why Trump hasn't taken any real measures to stop Antifa activism in this country. And listen, I know that those 8 people in Texas got convicted. I will tell you, if you think those are the only Antifa members in that area, that's not true at all. In fact, there's going to be a big Antifa event in the Dallas-Fort Worth area on July 4th. I have all the details about it. Also, it's one of those things where it's like, you know, you have to think about the scale of far left activism. Do you have any idea how many people are in those rapid response signal groups in Minneapolis alone, the anti-signal groups that Antifa organized? Take a guess at how many people they have in them.
10,000.
80,000. I know that because I went into their meetings and recorded them.
Who would want to be in a group of 80,000 psychos texting back and forth? That sounds like hell.
Well, what they've actually done in Minneapolis is they are so hyper organized that if they spot ICE anywhere in the city of Minneapolis, they can get someone on the ground to stick a camera in their faces within 2 minutes. That's how hyper organized they are.
And I guess there's nothing the Trump administration can do about that.
No, because they let the problem get out of hand. And this is the case with the Republican Party. Listen, I've been screaming about this stuff for years. I've tried to warn people. I've tried to give this information to the Trump administration directly. They've ignored me. They told me they cared more about my use of capital letters than they did about the actual information I was giving them. And so it's like, I look at the problem now, and I have receipts to back that up, by the way. And I look at this problem now, and I'm like, okay, this is exactly what was going to happen because you guys ignored the problem. I quite frankly kind of like agree that I think that Trump thinks that he can use this to win the midterms. And it's like, so you're throwing all of us under the bus. You're allowing the left to win so that you can win a midterm election because you don't feel like fulfilling any of your promises. It's absolutely disgusting, reprehensible behavior.
Yeah, it does seem like that is the case. They can't run on the economy. They can't run on mass deportations. They can't run on low gas prices. They have nothing to run on. So now it looks like we're running against radical Islam. We're running against socialists, which might work. I mean, it might work 10 years ago. And I think that this is the big blind spot right now when it comes to the older generational right, that they are just they just don't see this at all. I genuinely believe they don't see it at all, which is, they used to think, I'm on the moral high ground, especially in right-wing politics. I'm on the moral high ground if I stand against radical Islam. I'm on the moral high ground if I stand against socialism. Well, the problem is this high ground doesn't exist anymore. You can stand against radical Islam, that's fine, but if you're not standing against radical Israel, then it's worthless. It's the same difference to the American voter now. So you have no high ground against radical Islam if you support what Israel is doing. So that's a net neutral. That's not winning any votes. And then when it comes to the socialism thing, okay, maybe you're not socialists as far as a domestic policy is concerned, but practically speaking, we're already in a socialist country. And if you're going to sit here and continue to support this welfare state and continue to support now more hundreds of billions of dollars for foreign wars and foreign entanglements, you might as well be a socialist. In fact, I would argue you're worse than a socialist. I mean, I think you could make a legitimate case, a legitimate argument that foreign aid in the practice of these entanglements and wars is worse than socialism. And this is how I present it, because I'm no socialist. I'm no leftist. I've never had a leftist bone in my body since I've been working here for the last 10 years. So if I had two options, $500 billion for wars overseas, or $500 billion for Americans to have health care. If those are my two options, what am I going to vote for? Am I going to vote for another war overseas that does nothing for me, that does zero for the American people, just more death and destruction and lowers our moral high ground? Or am I going to vote for a socialist package that I don't like, but it's better than $500 billion overseas again? It's better than $500 billion burned up in another foreign interest war. And so it's like, that's where we're at. So the whole angle of, I'm not a socialist. Yeah, you are. You're just not a socialist for America. You're just a socialist for a foreign country. We're not radical Islam. Yeah, you are. You're just radical Israel. You just don't care that Muslims are dying. It doesn't matter, though, to you that they're dying. So you're just as radical as they are. And so this is now, they think they have this moral high ground. They don't.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you. And I think that one of the realities, too, is that the reason the left is winning and the right is losing is because, it's fine to stand on your principles when you're just like posting tweets and memes on the internet. But the fact of the matter is, the left is out there organizing every single day. So they may have crazy ideas, and they do, and they will lead to the downfall of the country eventually. But they're out there doing things. They are putting together these rallies and protests and educational events and social things. And they create an entire social ecosystem around activism. And as all of this is happening, the right just makes up these lies about them that are fundamentally unhinged from reality. They run around saying this is all Soros funding. No, it isn't. They run around saying they're all paid protesters. No, they're not. They do it in their free time. They're all volunteers. They run around saying they don't have jobs. That's not true. In fact, the biggest tool the left has, and I need to harp on this again, is they control the labor unions. All of the labor unions, with the exception of the police union, which the left doesn't really think is a real union because they hate the police. But every single other one, we're talking about the auto workers, we're talking about the airline employees, we're talking about grocery store employees, and they are actively coordinating right now among all of these unions for a mass general strike on May 1st, 2028, to shut down the entire economy for an extended period of time leading up to the next election. So that's going to be another little fun thing that we're going to have to deal with in a couple years. And you'll see that the left believes in long-term planning. They're not even thinking about the midterms right now. They already think they're going to win the midterms. They already think that it's going to be, they either think they're going to win or they think Trump is going to sabotage it or cancel it or something like that, which is going to be the next big thing that they're going to be telling people. They're actually starting to pivot some of the anti-ICE groups to election integrity protection, which is funny in and of itself. But while the left is doing all of this stuff, the right is just lying and memeing on Twitter and are unhinged from any reality that's going on the ground.
I've been trying to express this. I was called a panickin, and then everything that we warned about, everything that we predicted came true. So, I'm to the point now. I'm so numb to the whole thing. The whole political conversation right now is so pathetic. What we were supposed to be getting from Trump, it's like none of it is happening, and I'm being told that I need to be happy about it anyway. And I love this. I love this other cope. I don't know if you're seeing this. Like, hey, it's like, oh, the World Cup is going on. I'm like, what? Okay. There were soccer tournaments that happened when Biden was president too. What is your point here? They have nothing. I don't understand what we're doing here. I don't get it, except we know what's going on. And then there's just this total denial. So I don't know. I don't know what's good for the country. I don't know if letting socialists and Democrats take over is better in the long run or not. I don't know if keeping Republicans is better in the long run or not. Honestly, I'm convinced neither of them. I'm convinced there is nothing good for America on the table right now. And you're just left with a choice. Do you want $500 billion for Israel, or do you want $500 billion for healthcare? It's like, that's the choice.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm feeling the same way. I'm completely black-pilled at this point. I think that the left is going to try to actually overthrow the government in the next 10 to 15 years. The way they're organizing, it could happen sooner if there's some sort of spark that throws off the revolution, which real leftist groups are preparing for. By the way, I see meetings all the time across all of these different leftist groups where they are convinced that sooner rather than later there's going to be some spark of their own American Russian-style revolution in which there's just going to be mass protest and chaos in the streets, and they're going to shut down the economy. That's why they're doing all these mass general practice strikes leading up to their big one that they want to do in 2028. But I mean, the thing of it is again, the Republicans are doing nothing to prevent this. It's all lip service. Like when you look at the practical measures, things on the left are only getting worse and worse and worse. And so for my money, listen, again, I don't want the left to win, but I respect the left's work ethic a lot more than I respect the right. And I do not think we stand any chance as long as the conservative establishment stays in power.
I don't even think it's a worth ethic issue. I mean, there's no doubt that they're hitting the pavement harder. I think that there's no doubt about that. I'm not sure the Republicans are even present on the pavement past a social media post.
Nope.
But I don't think it's a work ethic thing. I look at last night and I look at the Democrats and I'm thinking it's so clear why the Democrats are gaining momentum right now. It's because they're ingratiating the Hassan Pikers into their politics. No matter what you think about Hassan, you can think he's the worst person in the country. The Democrats are ingratiating him into their politics. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, there is no shortage of charismatic young conservatives. We are oozing with conservative young men and women that are good looking, charismatic, smart, funny, popular, cool. And these are the people the Republicans push to the side. These are the people the Republicans are like, get out. We don't want you. You know, give us Breland Hollyhand. Give us Cam Higbee. Give us Dana Loesch. Give us Ben Shapiro. Give us Mark Levin. These guys suck. It's like, how are you surprised you can't convince young people to vote Republican when those are the faces and the names and the voices that you're presenting as cool conservatives? These guys suck. They're losers. They couldn't convince a polar bear to slide on ice. And then you had the Democrats, and it's like, hey, we're going to have Hassan Piker out here promoting people. But hey, we don't want anything to do with this dissonant young right-wing Americans that are cool and funny and charismatic. No, we're going to let the Democrats take the youth vote, and we're just going to tell you, hey, we're not Democrats, so vote for us. I mean, it's unbelievable, the blind spot as far as that is concerned, but they don't even try. They don't even try.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I cannot tell you how many times over the past year and a half or so, I have literally been told by Republicans, we don't want your vote. We don't need your vote. We don't want your vote. We don't need your vote. I'm much farther right politically than most Republicans. If I had my way, I would round up all these anti-ICE activists and literally put them in a concentrated camp where they get all their basic needs taken care of and no one dies in anything. I want them to live long and happy lives. But like, that's what I would do. I would put all the Somali immigrants on a cargo plane and fly their asses back to Somalia and kick them off. And I don't care what any court says about it. That's how I would handle these situations. But I think most conservatives nowadays are basically more like classical liberals than they are really conservatives. And they don't want to do that. And for a lot of conservatives, and this is one of the most bizarre things, the anti-ICE organizing made them more anti-ICE. Now they're questioning all these tactics. Greg Bavino, who was awesome and the only person who actually had a plan to deport 100 million people, basically got fired. He got forced to retire by the Trump administration because he wanted to do this. He was a sacrificial lamb to try to appease the anti-ICE organizing in Minneapolis, where if they had understood what these anti-ICE organizers believed, they knew that they would have known that they would have never been appeased no matter what. And so it's incredibly blackpilling to see the right just capitulate to the left over and over and over again. And I'll tell you what, like, I have a challenge getting people on the right and in the GOP to understand basic information about how the left is organized. I tell my audience all the time, and quite frankly, Dan Bongino just confirmed this earlier today when he tweeted that they're all paid protesters who don't have jobs. I tell them, we have more intelligence than the FBI does. And when I hear the advisors that are actually in the White House advising Trump, they are telling Trump these fantasies that are not grounded in reality and that the evidence directly contradicts. So here we are.
No, it's actually insane. I forget how you phrased it, but it's actually insane how many things Republicans right now just get flat out wrong. And they think they have it right, and they're just flat out wrong. I've got so many, like mass deportations is one of them. They're not happening, guys. The Trump administration hasn't even deported 1 million. They haven't even deported 1 million. Okay, there are no mass deportations. Like, aren't you happy we're getting mass deportation? You're not getting mass deportation, but the border's closed. Do you celebrate when you lock your door at night? Like, what are we doing here? That's where you're at. Hey, I locked my door. Let me eat cake. Like, really? That's basic security. You shouldn't even be celebrating that. But for the record, I got to make sure. Did you say you would put Antifa in concentration camps? I want to make sure.
I just think that, like, listen, they're communist activists.
I want to get the quote right.
No, I will be very specific about this. I think that we should round up everyone who is actively trying to overthrow the government, which is what Antifa is trying to do, and put them in concentrated areas, maybe in a camp-like setting where they have all of their needs provided for and a giant wall built around them so they can't leave. Again, we're going to take care of them. I don't want anyone to die or anything like that. I just want them out of our way, because the only way that we are going to stop these people is literally to cordon them off from society. This is why the Trump administration needs to be doing a lot more than just arresting 8 people in Texas. There are hundreds of thousands of these people nationwide. They are highly organized. They are highly effective. There is no leadership. There is no head of the snake. There is no funding that you can cut off. So maybe my position might be a bit extreme for some people, but honestly, I am actually concerned that they're going to try to radically, violently overthrow the government in the next 10 to 15 years. And so if people want to start taking this problem seriously, then let's actually act like we're taking it seriously, not just holding these big Antifa summits at the White House, which are full of misinformation, lying to the public about what's going on and what they can expect. You know, I have different ideas about what's required, apparently.
Doctor, this prescription is a little heavy, okay? I tried your prescription. I got dizzy. I started seeing stars and unicorns is this like a Starlighter camp? Or is that what we're talking about here?
I mean, I want them to live perfectly happy lives and be able to build their communist utopia. But the fact of the matter is, if these people had their way, we would not have borders in this country. We would not have police in this country. We would not have the Constitution. Literally, they believe the current government and the Constitution is built on capitalism.
Hold on. Hold on. Let's kind of reset here. Let me just ask you a question. Would you, if you could trade having a border and having police to just completely but that included getting rid of the federal government, would you consider that?
I think that would actually probably, well, listen, I live in New Hampshire and I have lots of guns and can protect myself. But I think generally speaking, for most of the country, that would probably be a very bad thing. And I would maybe like to prevent the abolition of borders and the police.
But I'm saying, if we also got rid of the federal government, would you consider it? You don't have to would you consider it? You don't have to commit to a yes or no. Just would you think about it?
I mean, listen, in my heart of hearts, I'm an anarcho-capitalist. So yeah, I think the government sucks. But my reason for hating the government is very, very different than the communist reason for hating the government. And the fact of the matter is the anarcho-capitalists and the libertarians suck at organizing, and they are never going to win at anything ever. And I say that living in the libertarian homeland. The far left is organized. They do have a vision for this country. And Owen, if you have seen some of the crazy stuff that I've seen about the far left, I have seen stuff that would absolutely blow your mind. I think you might become a little bit more friendly to my side of things.
Well, I've already been there. And the whole reason why I'm kind of just out on that right now is because there's no direction to go. It's like, just combating the radical left doesn't really take me anywhere. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's different for you because you're trying to get this information. Like, you're trying to go inside and get information that they don't have and get intel that they don't have. For me, it's like, I don't go undercover. I go out there with my face and a bullhorn. So it's like, for me, putting my life on the line like that, there's nothing, I risk myself for nothing. When we still believe that, MAGA or Trump was actually going to do the things that we voted for and have the reform that we believed in, it was worth it to me. It was like, yeah, I'll go out on the streets and mix it up with these people. I'll go out and put myself on the line because there's a payoff. There's a return on that risk. There's no return now. There's just, I can go out and combat lefties. There's no return. It's like, it doesn't really get me anywhere. And so I'm just kind of like, hey, whatever. Until something manifests that actually represents what I want to see happening politically, I just don't see it. I just don't see the risk being worth it right now. And if Republicans want to sit here and bitch and moan because they are letting socialists take over, then I'm not. It's like, hey, you're doing that, not me.
Yeah, I actually agree with you more than I disagree with you. I've long since come to the conclusion that Republicans and conservatives are never going to hinge themselves into reality and actually look at the evidence as it exists. And my study of the far left at this point is really more of like a personal fascination. I'm also trying to document for history what's going on by archiving all of this stuff. And I'm actually working with a group of volunteers to map the modern activist left in America so we can actually see what groups are the most active in what geographies and what messaging they're sending out. I have volunteers all over the country who go undercover and report back and share our information and stuff like that. So it's really kind of more of a personal kind of obsession with me at this point. But I have long since given up on the right actually doing anything about it.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how bad it's going to get. They're certainly panicked over the socialists, but I think it's all fake. I don't think they really care. As long as their donors are getting off and getting paid and the wars are going on and the bombs are dropping, I think that's really all they care about right now.
Yeah, that's it. I completely agree with you. It's all about clout and relevance and money. And, one of the things I hear from people who start watching my content, because on my YouTube channel, we literally just watch leftist trainings. We go right into the primary sources and we listen to what they're saying behind closed doors. We listen to what they're saying when they think people like us aren't listening. And once people start watching my content, this has happened repeatedly. People in the chat can attest to this. They start realizing how many lies they've been told by the conservative media establishment. And there are so many people who have encountered my my work that just get really disillusioned by it, because we all know the left is lying to us. We all know leftist media is lying to us, like, duh, obviously. But right-wing media is also lying to us. Fox News, The Blaze, Daily Wire, all of these big outlets, they're spreading misinformation all the time. The biggest influencers on Twitter are constantly sharing blatantly false, debunked information that I have primary source video evidence to disprove. And so it's kind of one of those things. It's like, I don't feel like I have any friends anywhere in the political space. I can't even get people to have intellectual conversations with me about this because they know that I have the evidence that's going to debunk the narrative they're pushing. So that's
I think that's why so many MAGA cultists attack me, because I counter their propaganda. They want me to just, sorry, that's what I do. It's what I did before Trump came down the escalator. It's what I did before any of you ever put on a red hat. I just counter propaganda. And so if you're the ones promoting and spreading propaganda, then yeah, I'm going to counter you. And your response is actually maybe worse than the left at times. All right, Dr. Karlin Borisenko, what is your prescription for my audience before we let you go here? Prescribe us something.
Yeah, I think that the biggest thing that people need to do is they need to unlearn everything they think they know about the modern activist left, and they need to just start hinging into reality with the primary sources. If you want a crash course, you can head over to my Substack. That is Karlin, KARLYN.substack.com. And on the homepage of the Substack, you will see a new to my work start here section. In that section, you will find a training called Re-Education and Anti-Communist Guide to the Far Left, and I will show you their own trainings. It's a series of clips from their own trainings that break down what they're doing, why they're doing it. I understand that a lot of people think they understand the left because you know the history of communism, and that's all fine, well, and good. But I study what's going on in America right now, right under our noses. And if people don't start hinging into that and understanding that, then we are lost, because right now the left or the right is trying to fight an enemy that they fundamentally do not understand. So that is the number one thing that needs to happen. People need to learn what's going on, and they need to hinge into reality.
All right, there it is, Dr. Karlin Borisenko. Thank you for your time. Good catching up. You've been right on about a lot of this stuff, warning the socialists were coming. And so keep up the good work, and we'll be in touch.
Thanks for having me.
All right, there goes Doctor. You better listen to the good doctor here on the Owen Report today. We got Clayton Morris coming up in a bit. I'm going to take a short break. I'm going to finish off some of those clips that we cut to, but cut short in the first hour. After a short break.
You're listening to the Owen Report on the WIN Network.
Political light years ahead of the rest. It's the Owen Report with Owen Schroyer.
All right, we got about 10 minutes or so here before we're joined by Clayton Morris from Redacted News. I want to try to get back to that Mike Johnson Fox News clip that we had to cut short to get the guest on. So let's go back there briefly as I'm kind of just picking this apart.
And every American needs to take this seriously.
Everyone needs to take this seriously. They're begging for you. Okay, you should take it seriously too. Abandon the foreign lobbyists, but no, you won't do that. So I guess you're not taking it too seriously either.
Our panel now, Cassie Smedley, GOP strategist, Megan Hayes, former Biden.
All right, I'm done with that. Let's check in. Let's see how Sean Hannity is doing. Who is Sean Hannity platforming?
All right, let me ask this. Why the deep hatred for Israel? Why?
No, because I mean, if you have such contempt for Israel, I mean, of course, you're also anti-American and you're anti-Western civilization, and you're seem anti-capitalism and the American way of life. I mean, now they're all socialists, of course, And now there's a communist and now Marxist, and now they're proud of this. I know, of course, we have P. Hustle in Maine. That's another one. He's a self-avowed, communist too. Now that's not even looked down on and a significant part of the Democratic Party right now.
So now Fetterman is Lurch is the big Republican mouthpiece on foreign policy with Sean Hannity. Sean says, I don't understand all this hatred for Israel. Really? Really? You mean killing innocent women and children doesn't bother you? Okay. All right. So then there's Dan Bongino. This is our crash out of the day. Let's do this. Let's go to a crash out of the day. Dan Bongino is crashing out. Today's crash out of the day brought to you by Crash Out Energy. Get yours today at crashout.energy. Today's crash out of the day is Dan Bongino, guys. What happened? I thought we'd be tired of winning. What happened? I thought the midterms were wrapped up. What happened? I thought this was all fun and games, guys. What happened? Trump's in power. The Republicans won the House and the Senate. What happened? Here's our crash out of the day, brought to you by Crash Out Energy.
Anyone telling you right now that this war on the Jews that's going on is about specifically and only the Jews is full of shit. It is not only about the Jews. The Jews are a convenient target for many people because they know they can find Jew hatred everywhere. The real war is against Western civilization. And I take that back, civilization in general. You, ladies and gentlemen, don't believe me. Believe the receipts. You think I'm kidding? You think this fight, Daria Lisa Chevalier, Mamdani, and the anti-Semites out there, you really believe this is about the Jews only? Listen to their own words.
By the way, this whole claim about Jews and anti-Semites, it all falls flat. And I'll explain why it all falls flat with the evidence coming up here. But just briefly so that Bongino can understand. One of the largest Jewish groups endorsed Mamdani, and many Jewish individuals, in fact, most Jewish individuals in New York City vote Democrat. So all these Democrats and socialists that you're claiming are anti-Semites are getting the majority of Jewish votes. So explain that logic to me.
Put up that tweet about Western civilization. Daria Lisa Chevalier, who won a primary for the United States House of Representatives last night and will likely be a congresswoman with a massive amount of power, was the co-founder of a group, the Columbia University Apartheid Divestment Group, CUAD. What's the organization's stated goal? Oh, look at that. Fighting for the total eradication of Western civilization.
So it'd be nice if you guys could abandon the foreign lobby and abandon the Middle East so that we can actually focus on America and domestic issues and then start winning again so that people like this don't win elections and take over the country. It'd be nice, but you guys won't do it. You guys won't do it. And you guys are sitting here crashing out, ramming your heads against the wall, running laps around one another, trying to figure out what the hell's going on. It's you. You guys did this. We had one of the biggest election victories in the country, in the history of this country. Trump in the White House, Republicans get the House and the Senate. We had a mandate, and you guys blew it. You guys turned it into a bomb and dropped it in Iran, and it's gone. It's over. And yes, radical socialists are taking over because you have failed. There's no tired of winning. And now it's starting to catch up to you guys, but you're left holding the bag. You guys are the ones left holding the bag. You guys are the ones left carrying this burden because you kicked all of us out. And now it's just you. So yeah, this is really sad. How can this be? How can this be if we're so good? How can this be if Trump is so good? How can this be if we're dominating and winning so much? No, because we're not. We blew it all up. We turned all of the momentum, all of our political capital, our cultural capital, all of it. We turned it into a bomb and we dropped it in the Middle East. And now we're cooked. And now we're cooked. And you guys are warning, look at who Democrats are electing. This is your fault. None of these people would win an election if you didn't go to war in Iran. None of these people would win an election if you started doing mass deportations. None of these people would be winning elections if you actually drained the swamp, arrested the deep state, held people accountable for corruption, cleaned up the elections. None of this would be happening. But you guys invested everything in Israel and everything in the foreign interests. And now you're complaining at the results of your own decisions, and I'm not having it.
What the fuck is going on?
Where are you at, guys? Where are you at? Can't do it without us, huh? And that is your crash out of the day, brought to you by Crash Out Energy, crashout.energy. Secure your canister today. Let's continue. A reaction, Scott Jennings, last night on CNN.
You sort of glossed over the main issue in this race, which is Israel. I mean, Dan Goldman is a congressman, and he's Jewish, and he went into a coffee shop this weekend in Brooklyn, and they said, you're not welcome here anymore. Brad Lander is out speaking in mosques, telling those people that he'd like to go align himself with Ilhan Omar and the rest of the squad. Dan Goldman's only sin, I guess, is that he thinks Israel has a right to exist. And for that, that has been the principal issue in this. And
for those that are not clear on this yet, for those that need a reminder here, Israel is a foreign country. Israel is not America. It is a foreign country. Just wanted to make sure, because some people seem to be confused.
Got the mayor of New York City, Mamdani, out saying about AIPAC and Jewish Americans who have participated in our politics that they are, quote, monsters. What is happening right now in New York City, the Democrat socialist takeover of the Democratic Party, should frighten not just Jewish Americans, but all Americans everywhere, because this is the direction the Democrats are headed nationally. Look what's happening in Michigan, and it is frightening. Throwing Democrat Jewish congressmen out of coffee shops in Brooklyn, New York. It's not 1930s Germany. This is the United States of America.
This is the woke right. This is how Democrats cudgel black people for political purposes. This is what these Republicans are doing to Jews right now. Now, this should be so embarrassing for Scott Jennings. He should be completely embarrassed. Okay. Brad Lander is Jewish. So the guy that beat Goldman is also Jewish. And the coffee shop that you're complaining about that didn't serve Goldman a coffee or whatever it was, whatever that dispute was, you realize there was a big protest there. And you realize that a bunch of Orthodox Jews, a bunch of local New York City Jews actually showed up in support of the coffee shop. We're standing arm in arm with the coffee shop today. So how's that for your anti-Semitism? The anti-Semites voted for a Jew. The Jews stood in solidarity with the anti-Semitic coffee shop today. Do you guys realize what clowns you are? Do you realize what an embarrassment you are? You guys are a joke. You are the woke right. You are no better than Black Lives Matter. You are now Black Lives Matter. In fact, Black Lives Matter is almost a nothing. Jewish Lives Matter is now what it is. It's the woke right and it's Jewish Lives Matter. But you can't even get you're so dumb that you don't even know how ridiculous your story is. The anti-Semites voted against Goldman. Lander's Jewish. The anti-Semites at the coffee shop wouldn't serve Goldman a coffee. The local Jewish community supports the coffee shop. Anti-Semitic, oh my gosh, racist, anti-Semitic, racist, Black Lives Matter, Jewish Lives Matter, anti-Semitic, racist. It's all the same. It's all the same noise. It's this constant woke buzz, like a buzzsaw through the America First agenda. What a joke. And you know, and that's what's so funny about it is, so here's Jennings. He's the right-wing expert on CNN. He just goes 0 for 4 with a golden sombrero in his 30-second bit. 0 for 4, golden sombrero, nothing but strikeouts. And then the Democrats on the panel, they don't even know any better. I'm sorry, America. I'm sorry that this is where your political conversations are at. I'm sorry that this is where your political media is at. A bunch of jokesters, frauds, clowns, woke people that don't even know. They don't even know what they talk about. They show up, they get into hair and makeup, they sit down at a desk, somebody puts the stories on their desk, and they don't even know anything about the stories that they're talking about. It is embarrassing. I am sorry for this country that is the status of your media. I apologize. And I'm sorry that now political news is so cringe and so redundant that we're all sick of it. Oh, they're anti-Semites. Brad Lander is Jewish. You clown. You absolute clown. The anti-Semites that voted for a Jew. Wow. And isn't Scott Jennings like the perfect representation of how far MAGA has fallen? Scott Jennings used to be like a clip machine on CNN. Scott Jennings used to be like the right-wing right hook on CNN, clobbering the liberals, crushing their logic. But now that the right wing is totally sold out to the foreign interest, now they can't be honest. Now they can't live in reality. Now they have to spread propaganda. And now Scott Jennings went from the Mike Tyson conservative on the CNN panel to a pipsqueak, to a dunce, to an ignoramus, to a sellout.
You're listening to the Owen Report on the Win Network.
No, que stop this. 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 No que stop this. No que stop this. No que stop this.
It's the fastest 3 hours on the internet. It's the Owen Report with Owen Schroyer.
All right, flying by as always into the third hour of today's show. We are now being joined by one of the co-hosts of Redacted News. Excellent source for alternative news right now, which Clayton, I think we're at a weird point in the media where alternative news is becoming imperative again. But it's also becoming a bit numbing, Clayton. It's becoming a bit numbing and redundant right now. I think we all feel like we're in Groundhog Day. I open up and I wake up. I open up my talk radio. I open up my news headlines, and it's every day, Middle East or reflecting pool. Take a pick, Clayton. Would you like to take a dip in the reflecting pool, or would you like to dive in the Middle East?
Oh my gosh.
Which do you want?
You'd have to shower off all the algae if you take a dip in the reflecting pool at this point. It's so funny that you bring this up about this redundancy and this feeling of Groundhog's Day, because earlier today I was thinking, hey, I'm talking to Owen this afternoon, and one of the things that I would love to talk about is this redundancy right now. And it's unbelievable where we're at. And I think we're in this numbing. You brought up the term numbing. I think we're in this numbing phase right now. And it's really dejecting, I think, for a lot of people who are just trying to put food on the table. They work hard. They're in this like cycle of, okay, the Strait of Hormuz is closed one day, now it's open, now it's closed again, now this deal is here. We're all being fooled. I think a lot of people just feel fooled just from, anecdotally, just the people I'm talking to, not exactly like I'm standing in front of 10,000 people at a stadium and asking them this question. But a lot of people on our show, on our Redacted News chat, will say the same thing. They just feel like they've been duped. They feel that they're just sick of it. They're sick and tired of it. And I think that's reflected right now in a lot of the coverage, just across the board. You're sort of waking up and you're just feeling like, you need a shower, and you're sick and tired of tuning in to find out how are we being duped again, with very little upside. I mean, that's what it feels like. There's also very little sunshine at the end of the day. Trump announces some new deal on nuclear energy. Then it's quantum technology. Then it's
don't forget the QAnon posting too. They're weaving in QAnon propaganda into it now too.
Yeah, so you got QAnon, then you've got Iran is doing everything that we're asking them to do, where it's very easy to check that in real time to find it. See, he's so used to like a Fox News audience that's just like fooled by this propaganda. Like I was at the gym today, and one of the monitors at the gym was, had Fox News on it. And I just think, my God, there are people in their 70s that are like watching this stuff that truly believe the spoon-fed lies that they're being handed by watching this propaganda. And Trump, and they just sort of regurgitating what Trump is saying, with no checking in real time what's unfolding at all. But it's very easy in real time to check and see that, oh, wait a minute, there's through the Strait of Hormuz, they're actually charging these ships. There is a toll that's going on right now as we speak. And Trump is saying that Iran has done everything that we've asked them to do. Well, that's not true. One of the things you asked them to do was to not have tolls going through the Strait of Hormuz. Like, that's easy to check in real time with what's happening. And it's fully open. That's not fully open. It's very easy to check in real time how many ships are actually passing through the Strait of Hormuz. So I just feel like we're in this weird, like, bizarro world right now. And it's, in many ways, it feels exhausting.
I was describing it. I'm sure you've seen the movie Interstellar, the Matthew McConaughey movie, very popular about a decade ago. I describe it as it's that scene towards the end of Interstellar where he's like going through that like time vortex,
right?
Like surrounded by all the different like vortices or whatever. It's like, that's what I feel like. We're floating through this time vortex and everything is a mirror image of the exact same thing. And it's just like, we're waiting for it to collapse. There's nothing to really grab onto. There's nothing that really stops us from this time vortex that we're in. We're just like waiting for it to collapse. There's so much you said there in your opening. I want to just kind of just toss all of it right back to you here. I think we can juggle all of this at once. I'll start with this. It's so funny that last week, and I don't know, you guys were not, we were kind of on the same page. You guys were not as optimistic as I was. But you even go back a week ago and it was like there was a sense of hope. There was an idea that, okay, maybe it's like, hey, we gave the neocons their shot. We gave Israel a year of this foreign policy. It's not working and it's time. It's over. It's over. We're going to get this deal done and we're coming home, right? It's like we kind of had some hope that was going to happen. But nope, we're right back on the same Groundhog Day movie situation. And you get in, I'll package all of this together. And this is where I really want you to go on with the thought, because I was expressing this earlier. I almost feel bad for my audience now because of how watered down and pathetic the news media is. And I'm a news media consumer. I sense this. It's like if I go to the same restaurant every day and then someday the food all of a sudden stinks and it's moldy and it's rotten and it's no good anymore. It's like, oh, I recognize, hey, the food here is no good anymore. I feel bad for everybody having to eat this food. So it's like, that's kind of the state of the media right now. And I said there's about 5%. I would include you, by the way. I would include you and Redacted as that 5%. There's like 5% of the American media that's anywhere near reality or giving Americans any sense of how things are really happening right now in the political world. 95% of the media that you're consuming, you're going to have no idea. You mentioned Fox News. The Fox News trap is a perfect example. And I'm watching it last night and I'm watching the responses to these socialists winning and they're all shocked, Clayton. They're like, I can't believe it. Where did this come from? They go out on the streets and everybody's trashing AIPAC. And the Fox News reporter is like, they all brought up AIPAC. Like, what's going on? I swear, these people have no social lives. And I don't mean that like, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just saying they clearly have no social lives. They're clearly stuck in these political bubbles. They're clearly stuck in these political silos and echo chambers that they have no idea. They have no idea what the average American is thinking. If you're shocked that AIPAC is unpopular right now, then you're clearly out of touch and you don't belong on television.
Clearly. And of course, you've got people on their network that are fully in the tank for AIPAC. They would never be a dissenting voice for that. Not that there is like this edict that's sort of handed down on high. You know, I used to work at Fox News. So I did the morning show there for about 10 years, a morning show called Fox and Friends. And there was never like an edict, like you're going to say this, but there was clearly what the show was going to be for 4 hours. You could clearly see the narrative that was unfolding. I wasn't smart enough then, I think, to pierce it because, we were doing political segments and then 1 minute, then the next minute we're outside with kids doing some little rodeo thing. So it was like a lot of bouncing back and forth on craziness. But these people live in a bubble. The people that like work at these places, they live in New York City. They're in Midtown Manhattan. They have car service that takes them to and fro. They go back to their high-rise apartment. They go to their Pilates class or whatever. But they're not like worried about how they're going to put food on the table later that day. They're not worried at all about that. And they're certainly not talking to the masses. If they're anything, they're in an echo chamber, and they're very much an insulated echo chamber about what they're going to talk about and what's going to be broadcast across their airwaves. And you could to have a dissenting voice on that network, you'll be fired. Like my friend Tucker Carlson, like you're going to be fired if you speak out against neocons. The one time I got a pretty big scolding was when I brought up the military-industrial complex, and had a whole diatribe about the military-industrial complex, and I got a bit of a talking to in the commercial break by one of my producers, just not to, be careful, and sort of not telling me what to say, but just sort of be careful. When you realize like the big advertising that takes place on Rupert Murdoch run products like the Wall Street Journal, you have full page ads that are for Boeing, and Northrop Grumman and all of these things. So it is absolutely an echo chamber. When I watch these people on Fox News or News Nation, I'm like, do you have any idea, or you truly don't know, or you're choosing to be willfully ignorant? You're choosing to be willfully ignorant. And very few of the people that I worked with in that environment ever like read a book. I would never like catch one of these news anchors like sitting in the green room like reading a book, like John Mearsheimer's the Israel lobby. Oh, what are you reading there, John? Oh, I'm reading the Israel lobby. They
wouldn't let you in, actually. You'd be stopped at the security check.
You get like through security, like you'd never get a book like that.
You're gonna have to leave that book here.
No way. They'll hang out in the makeup rooms and it's all gossip, and there's no real thinking that's going on in those environments, or real questioning. Yeah. Like on my show, I don't care. I don't have any agenda. So you're seeing, of course, wherever like independent media is being absolutely hammered right now. But I don't answer to anybody. I don't answer to any, big pharma. So I don't care. And I'll say things I don't mind. Like we did a whole show today about the UN report on Gaza. And finally the UN admitting that, children are being used as cannon fodder. One day we'll shoot them in the head, the next day we'll shoot them in the stomach. Like we would never be able to do that on Fox News. Are you kidding me? We'd be kicked out of the room if you brought up.
Sean Hannity asks John Fetterman, I don't understand why people don't like Israel. That was his big question.
Sean Hannity, who looks like he was stung by bees over the past, like, what happened to Sean Hannity? It's like,
well, they got to get a lot of cosmetic work over there, Clayton. All right, come on now. That's the game.
I don't understand why people don't like Israel. Like, I have friends that are Israeli. I have friends that I talk to in Tel Aviv. I say right to their face, like, your government is demonic. Like, your leaders are Satan incarnate. I like you personally, but your leaders are killing children, shooting them in the head, allowing their IDF to run rampant, allowing, by the way, on October 7th, to use the girls that were in those outposts, the IDF soldier girls who were in those outposts, you knew that this was coming and you used them as cannon fodder. You knew and you were warned about it, and it was all part of a plan. Yeah. So they're demonic. Why do people not? And you throw around everyone's Hamas. Yeah, sure. So the 3-year-old kids are Hamas.
Yeah, everyone's a Nazi and Islamofascist, Hamas. If you don't agree with their opinion, it's the woke right. I mean, it's the epitome of woke. It just comes from the right now.
Right. Oh, yeah. So everything is Hamas. Everything is Hezbollah. Even President Trump having the balls to call out the fact that Netanyahu is a little crazy and blows up apartment complexes, and you're not, and he says, I can tell you for sure that Hezbollah is not full in those apartments. Like, you're killing a lot of innocent people. And I know that for sure. He kind of said it under his breath, but it's like he was fully aware what's happening. And, so is he anti-Semitic? Is Trump anti-Semitic for saying that? This is the same thing we're saying. Why is he allowed to say it?
Yeah. And isn't it funny how that happens? Trump goes to Jerusalem and tells everybody, hey, Marian Adelson is the top donor and she cares more about Israel than America. But if you say that, we all know what happens if you say that, Clayton. In fact, you can't say that.
No, absolutely not. You can't say, Mark Levin, you're spending you're there on a little family trip right now, whatever. Like, you care more about Israel than you do about America. You can't say that. You can't say that about.
It doesn't matter that all their actions prove it.
Right. I mean, look at Mike Huckabee. I mean, one of my old colleagues. Like, to me, he's like unrecognizable. I'm like, I don't even recognize this guy.
What is that about?
I don't know. I used to work with him. I used to see him like every day. He and I got along great. I would talk about UFOs with him. He would tell me things off the record about, in commercial breaks, not off the record, but in commercial breaks that while he was governor of Arkansas, that, he would see the things that he was being reported to through National Guard and otherwise. Like, so I had a great relationship with him, but I don't know what in the world happened to him. And I don't know if, it's like, is it money? What is it? I don't understand this like reality distortion field. That's how I describe it. It's like a reality distortion field. It's like what happens when reporters go out to Cupertino and they cover Apple products when Steve Jobs was still there. It's like Steve Jobs had this like reality distortion field where he could he made these reporters like sort of report a certain way about things. He just had this ability, and that was how it was described when you go to Cupertino on Apple campus. And so I think there's something that going on. Either the trips to Israel create this reality distortion field, or the money creates the reality distortion field, or there are people that give you a phone call and tell you what to say, or else we are going to do to what you saw what happened to Thomas Massey. Like, here's what's about to happen to you. Like,
and that's like, the nice thing. That's like you're not going to end up in a, 6 foot long box.
Yes.
I'm saying maybe that's, maybe we don't go there today, but it's funny too, because I'm watching like even Scott Jennings, who used to be the big right hook on CNN panels. And he's on there last night talking about how, anti-Semites defeated Goldman. The guy that won Lander is Jewish. And it's like, do you even know what you're talking about? He's complaining about this coffee shop that didn't serve Goldman, and how, they're rabid anti-Semites. There were Orthodox Jews arm in arm with them today for an anti-protest stand. And he's just like, they're all anti-Semites. It's like, dude, do you even know what you're talking about? And I don't think so. And it's like, you're asking the right questions. These are the logical questions that thinking people would be asking. It's like, hey, how can Scott Jennings, I'm sure he makes good money, and I like Scott Jennings. I'm not against Scott Jennings,
right.
But I'm sure Scott Jennings makes good money to go be the conservative on this panel, and he's going to go on and talk about something that he hasn't even done basic level research. It's like, I'm not asking for a college thesis here, but you don't even know the basic stuff of the stuff you're talking about. Same questions you ask about Huckabee. It's like, these are basic questions. It's like, dude, why are you more loyal to a foreign country? What happened? That is a totally normal question to ask somebody exhibiting such behavior.
Right. And why are you antagonistic against the U.S. military, claiming that the U.S. military is not on some sort of high moral ground, that the IDF is it? The IDF is the most moral army in the world, that they'll send leaflets and let people know what they're doing in their neighborhoods before they come in and bomb. Oh, really? Is that the case? Then how do you take the numbers that the United Nations report claims, at least 30,000 children killed, as just, is that propaganda? Are they all Hamas? Are all 30,000 of these children that you killed? And even that number seems low to me, according to the numbers that we've been looking at. But is that the most moral army in the world? Like, is that not a legitimate question? No, if you ask that question, then you're somehow anti-Semitic. The good news is, at least in part, Huckabee is not Jewish. So, like, I don't exactly know how that's anti-Semitic to ask the sitting U.S. ambassador, which is supposed to have our interests at heart, why are you seemingly putting Israel before the United States of America in both your rhetoric and your support of this army? I lived in Portugal for 5 years. At the beginning of that phase was one of the ambassadors to Portugal, U.S. ambassador to Portugal, famously made headlines for like basically taking an America first sort of stance, which is what an ambassador should do, right? He's there on as a representative of the United States. So you're hoping that like you're putting forward things that would support the United States. And there was a number of things, I'm going to go into all the details of the weeds, but made headlines in the Portuguese press about how dare this like American ambassador kind of have an America first kind of policy. And that's kind of what you want from your American ambassadors representing another, when you're in another country. Yes, you are the guest in another country, of course, but you're also there because of the president of the United States and really doing the bidding and pushing, whether it's propaganda or not, of the United States in these other countries. So, but I don't feel like, Mike Huckabee represents me at all or represents the American people at all for his position inside of Israel. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, you would think he was an Israeli lobbyist.
Right. By the way, have you seen these commercials? I saw these again last night. I see them like 30 times a day where there's like you see this commercial. You know what I'm talking about.
I can assume, but I'm going to wait and find out. And if it is, my audience is going to get a good laugh out of this one too.
So you guys probably talked about it. I haven't really spent much time with it because I find it so annoying and just ridiculous. But so you have this Jewish kid. He's like a high school kid, and he's walking down the street. He's walking down the hallway in school, and there's like a sticky note on his back, and he doesn't know it. And everyone in the hallway is just like looking at him and making fun of him. Mostly, it's like all white kids like looking at him and making fun of him until he stops at his locker. And he pulls his backpack off and he sees that there's this sticky note on the back in perfectly written handwriting, by the way, that says "Dirty Jew." And then this black kid comes up and slaps like a blue note over top of it and says, "Don't pay attention to that. I know what that's like." And they kind of turn back at all the white kids in the hallway or so. First of all, I grew up around a lot of Jewish kids in New Jersey, where I was from, in the Philadelphia area. Never once did I experience anything like that. Never once did I ever see. I had a lot of Jewish friends. My neighbors were Jewish. Like I never saw that. But maybe it was just everywhere and I didn't notice it. Maybe there was like sticky notes being put on the back of Jewish kids' backpacks everywhere you went. Like that this is a major like pandemic now. But I love the positioning of like it's the black guy who's also dealt with all of this racism his whole life, and now it's the Jewish kid. He's there, it's one and the same. And we're standing up to this in this school district. But I see it like 30 times a day. It's on like during every sports event.
Millions of cars.
So what the hell is that? Where'd this thing come from? Why is it being shoved down our throat nonstop all day long?
This is what I've said, because we have covered this before. I knew that was the video that you were going to reference, and I have covered it before. What I believe it is you have, the right wing did a good job, and it was fair and honest at the time when we're covering the woke left and its soft bigotry or its identity politics. That was all fair game. The problem is the right wing is not willing to cover that when the right wing does it. Yes. And so as I have described it, Israel or Jews that is basically Black Lives Matter for conservatives. So Democrats use Black Americans at the permanent victim status as a cudgel for a political agenda. Right-wing Republicans use Jews in Israel as a cudgel for a political agenda. I guess the only difference is that benefit goes a different way, maybe than if there is any benefit when it comes from the Democrat. But it's basically the same thing. So what I see when I saw that commercial, what I see is, okay, we've already put Black Americans into this victim mindset, into this victim status. We now want to put Jewish Americans into the same victim status. So we're going to now team both of them up. And we're going to say, okay, it's the Black victim and it's the Jewish victim. And who's the bad guy? The whitey. Of course, it's the big bad white guy again. And Clayton, this is one of my biggest pet peeves and one of the main things that I try to remain consistent with, and that is logical consistency. If you have a different opinion than me, a different perspective than me, policy approach, whatever, that's good. I'm not in a cult. We'll have a debate, and that'll be that. As long as you have logical consistency. As long as you have logical consistency, to me, you're a good faith actor. But the minute that logical consistency fails, you no longer have my respect. You're no longer a good faith actor. Now, why am I talking about logical consistency? Because we love on the right wing now, there's different sections of the right wing that will finally stand up for white identity. They'll finally stand up against anti-white bigotry and anti-white propaganda. But when it's coming from the Jewish lobby now, we don't say anything. We're not going to say anything about this clearly anti-white commercial targeting white people and trying to team up with the Black victim status and the Jewish victim status propaganda in this country and aim that all against white people. Conservatives don't want to talk about it then. Now they're not going to say anything when it comes from the woke right, Clayton.
Well, 100%. And I saw like little moments of clarity when there was this, it seemed like a unity around going after the Anti-Defamation League, going after the ADL as, attacking white people. Like, what happened with that? like that sort of fizzled really quickly. And now the same people who were talking about it now will gladly put whatever Jonathan Greenblatt like on their broadcasts again. So that was like a short-lived little fight back against this. I remember, I think even Elon Musk tweeted about it and brought some away.
Yeah.
And then that just like fizzled out, just gone. Can't even find it anymore. And now they're back fully, I guess. I don't know. But there was like little moments of clarity where you're like, oh, there seem to be people on the right calling out the ADL for literally exactly what you're talking about and going after white people and really playing like the Black Lives Matter game on the right. So I think you're absolutely right about this. And there's so much hypocrisy. I think that's what drives me nuts about it. But it's all, I think at the heart of it, it's all intentional. It's all intentional hypocrisy, and it's all meant to keep us in what my friend of the show, Colonel Towner Watkins, likes to say, the strategy of tension, to keep us here in this like cultural tension. Because there, as you know, there's no daylight between Democrats and Republicans. I mean, I don't see it. Maybe there is. There may be just like little cultural issues where there's some daylight.
Yeah, I mean, there's like enough daylight that you can maybe see it, but there's not enough daylight that can grow anything legitimate.
Right. Yeah, you're not growing any strawberry bushes, let's say. I mean, to me, it seems like these parties, and I think hopefully Americans are starting to wake up to the fact that we need some sort of a third party in this country, a legitimate third party, away from these corrupt uniparty that runs everything and keeps us intentionally. And you're going to see it. I've been warning my audience, right? I'm sure you have too. But coming up here as we head into the midterms, you're going to see a lot of this additional cultural propaganda in order to try to keep us at each other's throats. This idea fallacy that they were going to have that, oh, if you vote Republican, then you're separating yourself from that. Or if you vote Democrat, you're separating yourself from these fascists or whatever it is. So you're going to see a lot more of the cultural propaganda as we head into the midterms. This idea that there's only two choices in the United States. That's why more than 100 million Americans don't vote, because a lot of them believe that there is a uniparty. And of course, many Americans think that their vote doesn't count at all. And it won't matter at all. And I have to say, I was really dejected after the Thomas Massie loss. I mean, it hit me hard in a couple of ways, just thinking, is there really no way to stop this? You know, really, the people of Kentucky, like, you were fooled by this? You were fooled by this money? Like, that's all it took to get out somebody who stands for America, who's not going to be bought and paid for by Miriam Adelson and otherwise. And I was really dejected by it. I think that's why I'm very, politically active and certainly follow it like you do very closely and have for years. Every little nuance of it, and to exhausting after a while. But like, to feel that dejected, as ensconced in it as you and I are, is really disheartening. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen this midterm election, and I don't know what's going to happen. You see people like Nick Fuentes who are saying, I'm going to, vote Democrat just to stick it to Republicans. And to me, that's not the answer at all. These parties, neither one of them, they're all the same. They are both the same.
Isn't that the problem? Is we don't have an answer. And I think that kind of gets back to what we were speaking of before, where it's just like, we're in the Groundhog Day movie and there is no out. Like, it's just every day. It's just, there's no out.
The only out I see, to be honest with you, is if, frankly, money. If there was a large money movement that could be sort of like fully independent, not bought and paid for by any of the, these big special interests, but if there was enough money coming in from independent sources that could legitimize and start a third party, that's about the only thing. Look at all these other countries that have like 49 political parties.
Yeah.
Look at the rise of the AfD in Germany and so forth. But you have, like, the last time we had a legitimate third party was Ross Perot. And I always bring up Teddy Roosevelt because one of my heroes throughout history, and just as a history major myself, and loving his standing up to corruption. Like when he was in Albany, New York Assembly, standing up there as an assemblyman, calling out these corrupt people who were taking money. And you just call him out right to their faces. And people would come into his office and try to buy him, try to bribe him, and he wouldn't do it at all. And then he wins, of course, second term after ascending after the assassination of William McKinley. Then he has a second term that he wins. Then he takes a break and then comes back and runs on a third-party ticket, the Bull Moose ticket. And he loses. He's one of the most popular presidents in American history. He's on Mount Rushmore. But even as a third-party candidate under the Bull Moose ticket, he couldn't win. And so it's so crazy to me that we do not have a strong third party in this country that could really move the needle. And it would take whatever happened to the America Party by Elon Musk. Like whatever happened to that?
I was going to say the 2028 presidential election might be the first time. Maybe you mentioned the history there. So maybe the first time since then that a third party could be viable in a presidential election, because there is so much distrust and disdain from both the people on the left and the right. In fact, I'm kind of curious if you have the same phenomenon. You know, a lot of my audience now, I have a lot of people on the left that listen to my show now, and they'll kind of reach out and they'll be like, hey, you know, we might have some different political stuff, but at least I trust that you're telling the truth. And a lot of people nowadays listen to my show. They don't know what side I'm on. They don't know if I'm left or right, which I think, you know, means that you're doing a pretty good job. But my point is that I think there's disenfranchisement on the left and the right. I think there's a lot of disenfranchisement and frustration from both the political parties that people view as corrupt now, both parties as corrupt. And so they're just looking for something. Musk might be the only person that could fund a third party race if he was so inclined. I think he's the only person that could actually compete as far as, you know, funding a campaign, because these are billion-dollar presidential campaigns now, as you know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not really, you got to have somebody in there that's going to be willing to cut those checks. Musk is probably the only one that might be willing to do that. And then, of course, the question becomes, okay, well, what is the method then? Is the method you try to go through the Republican Party or you try to go through the Democrat Party, you watch how they respond to it, and then maybe you have like a combined ticket of like the anti-establishment left and the anti-establishment right, and you run on a platform of here's what we agree on. Do you come right out with a third party thing? Do you go through the Republican thing with like a Joe Kent, a Thomas Massey, a Marjorie Taylor Greene, go through those debates, watch how they treat you, then go third party? It's like, that's the kind of, it's like all of this stuff would have to be considered. We got to get through the midterms first anyway. But I do think that this could be an election cycle in 2028 where, yeah, I think maybe a third party candidate could be viable. The only concern I have is, and I'm, you know, I wonder if you agree or disagree with this. This is what I'm warning people today, and maybe we can kind of get into this, you know, socialist victory for last night. This is what I'm warning people today, because I'm sick of hearing from conservatives warning me about how socialists and radical Islam is going to win elections, and they're staring at me like it's my fault. No, you guys did this. You broke all the campaign promises. You got us right back into war in the Middle East. And the perception here is that this administration is run by foreign and special interests. So that's on you. That's not on us. We're not the ones that did that. Don't bark at us when socialists and Muslims start winning elections and then lecturing us as you guys are doing the very things that are going to put them in power. I believe right now at this trajectory, in 2 years from today, Zoran Mamdani will have more influence over the 2028 presidential election than Donald Trump. That's how drastic this shift has been in the last 2 years, and I anticipate this trend is going to continue because the Republicans are too stubborn. They're not going to learn from what they've done. And so all of this bitching and complaining about socialists and Muslims, you guys are giving the country over to Zoran Mamdani. Like, you guys are doing this. All you have to do is abandon the foreign lobby. That's it. That's literally all you have to do is abandon the foreign lobby, get out of the Middle East, and start fulfilling campaign promises. And Clayton, they look at us and they say, no, but vote for us anyway.
Right. Or they look at us and say, well, you've got, you know, DTS, you know, Trump derangement syndrome. You're the problem. You're the reason people like this have won. No. If you look at Bernie Sanders and his movement during the 2024 election, just the idea of socialism, it really plummeted big time. Why? Because there was this real sense, a real movement that Donald Trump had created. Elon Musk had helped, RFK Jr. had helped. There was this real idea that, like, we're going to take back our country. The fundamental reasons that people were going to vote for Trump was we're going to make America healthy again. We're going to be common sense approach to getting rid of dyes in our food. processed food. Like our school lunches are a joke. We're serving French toast sticks to kids at school lunches. And in Portugal, you got a roast chicken and rice. Like what the hell's happening in the United States of America? Like you have to microwave this thing. Anyway,
and our budget is like, 10 times per capita what Portugal's is.
Yeah. And they don't have the obesity problem. I could go on and on. Not that like it's a better country, right? I mean, it's under the EU, and the EU Commission, by all accounts, in many ways, socialist to begin with. But anyway, my point is, there were areas we all agreed on. Whether if you could rally around the idea of a Maha movement, making America healthy again, or closing the borders because we saw what was happening through all of these NGOs that were massive child trafficking operation into the United States, and hundreds of thousands of children were being sex trafficked across the United States. Maybe that was something you could get behind as the issue that you cared most about. Maybe your communities were being completely upturned because of a massive migration across the borders, and crime in your neighborhoods maybe that was it. Maybe it was getting out of all of these foreign wars. All of that was promised to us. And hey, we're going to bring manufacturing back home. We're the greatest capitalist country in the history of the world. More capitalism has created more wealth and brought more people out of poverty than any system in human history. So if we're going to bring manufacturing back home, that means more jobs. You keep more money in your wallet, no tax on tips. Oh, he also floated the idea we're going to get rid of this criminality, which is called the income tax. We're going to rein in the Federal Reserve. Like all of these things sound great. So socialism has very few legs to stand on when things are looking good. When things go bad and people can't put food on the table, and all the prices are through the roof as a result of runaway inflation, then people start demanding things like from the government, universal basic income and all of these things. And when you have somebody like Mamdani who makes promises about free handouts, all of these things, and when the economy is really tough and you feel like your government isn't helping you actually put food on your table, you're going to lean into those people that are going to give you a free handout. That's how this works. Yep. People love free handouts. And so, Mamdani, to your point, he endorses what, 9 of the 10 he endorsed, 9 win, a total sweep. So across these elite, liberal corridors, whether it's New York City, Philadelphia, you're going to see this massive movement now. This idea that your government is here for you, is going to hand out money for you. You don't have to work, by the way. So don't worry about like that manufacturing job. And you're fine now. And by the way, your jobs will be replaced by AI. I had a truck driver the other day write to me and he said, my job is being replaced as we speak.
Yeah.
My truck driving job is being replaced.
I think that'll probably be the first industry that goes fully automated is trucking and shipping.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. And you're going to have these fully autonomous trucks, which are already rolling out. I think, like FedEx pilots, or autonomous flights are going to be the next thing. Not the next thing, but pretty soon. And so you have these truck drivers who are saying, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like my job is going to be taken away by autonomous vehicles. They won't have to pay me insurance and all of these other things. And the truck driver said, I think the only answer is like to maybe some sort of form of universal basic income. And I said, whoa. Like I'm agree with you on the other points, but here we go. Universal basic income. You're one step away from full socialism, and no socialist program in the history of the world has ever worked. It's a total disaster. Well, they brought this on themselves, to your point.
But the problem is these are the conversations that we should be having. It's like if America was having success and the Trump administration was succeeding right now, then these are the serious conversations that we're having. We're talking about, okay, what is it going to look like when we go automated? What is it going to look like when we introduce robotics and mainstream it? What is it going to look like when we have AI running these systems? Like these are the real conversations that we should be talking about. And we're again, like the joke I made when I introduced you. Would you like to take a dip in the reflecting pool, or would you like to dive into the Middle East? It's like, here we go again, back into Groundhog Day. But, I did think about that since we'll tackle the real conversations here. Both of us are free market capitalists. And so we're always going to be extremely hesitant to get the government involved in anything, right? Including regulation of industries like this. Now, we also are concerned about AI and robotics and automation taking over. So it's like, how do you balance these two things that are kind of contradictory in this context, how do you balance these two things? I think what needs to be done, because we have to support our truckers. We really do. And they've been railroaded by a bunch of illegal aliens coming in and taking their jobs, and the whole industry kind of allowing this to happen, California lowering standards, on and on and on. I think what you need to do, and maybe you use trucking as the test, but I think that you have to have a grandfather clause. If you have a trucking job, they cannot just replace you with automation. And if they're going to say, hey, we're gonna replace you, we're gonna automate your driving route here, there does have to be some sort of a financial option. It doesn't have to be a universal basic income, but they can basically buy them out. And they can basically say, okay, a robot is going to take your job. Maybe you ride with it, whatever. But it's like they have to have some guarantees. So I don't know. There's like a grandfather clause. You can't just fire a driver and bring it in with a truck. If a driver retires, okay. If you have to fire a driver, whatever, then okay, now you automate it, and that's not necessarily somebody losing a job right now, maybe in the future. But these are the conversations. Like, this is what we should be talking about. This is the future of the planet. And instead, we're deciding how many bombs we need to send to the Middle East, how many bombs we need to send to Ukraine, what is considered America first and what isn't. It's like, these are the debates that we're having. Did somebody take a knife to the reflecting pool? Did they put algae in it? More at 9. It's like, these are the worthless conversations we're having instead of the real stuff that's going to actually impact the future of the country, like you just brought up.
Yeah, and I don't know the answer to that. I mean, this is where you're right. We should be having these conversations, because I really worry about some sort of a government overreach with this industry. We've seen automation happen throughout, the last 100 and so years, right? Whether it's, the car manufacturing and through Henry Ford's assembly line moving to automation, people lose their jobs. And things have to shift, and we have to have progress, hopefully in the right direction. I don't want suddenly thousands of truckers to be out of a job as a result of all of these autonomous vehicles. Is there a way that we can have some sort of a shift? Where will these truckers be useful for unloading or involved in the process of commerce in some other capacity? Because I'm of the opinion, I've kind of gone down this, I don't know, maybe like lazy river with it, back and forth around AI. And it is a tool. It's not going away. So I think most people who really are out there complaining about AI, a lot of them, I think, really don't understand it at all. They've never even used it. It's just like a virtue signal for a lot of people who really understand it. I think there are those who truly understand it and have spent the time researching it, who believe, and I'm going off of their beliefs here on this, which is this idea that it will actually create more jobs, that by the growth, we're going to have a lot of smaller companies as a result of it, which we're going to see a lot of new businesses being incorporated because of it. Those individuals are going to need, not everything is going to be run by AI. And so you're going to have people who are understanding of AI, who are going to be able to do multiple inputs with AI. So that one person will represent almost like 4 agents. I don't know how it's going to unfold. I'm just worried about certain industries, and I that's why I keep pushing my son, who's 15 years old, to really lean into electrical engineering. That's an area that he's going to be going into in school and studying, trying to learn trades, really being effective in the trades, because whether it's plumbing, I met a couple the other night who just started a plumbing company. They gave me their business card. I have it right here. So they just started a plumbing company.
This is proof. You're out with the people. You're out there. You're talking to the people of this country.
Well, and they're concerned, but they're entrepreneurial, and they're seeing the opportunities, I think. So I don't want to bury our heads in the sand around AI and think that it's gonna be a tidal wave that's gonna destroy everything. But can we have a shift that is humane? To your point, is there a way that we can have these truckers? It's not like the only skill they have. I mean, think about the amount of things that they have to deal with logistically on these trucking routes, and everything that they have to deal with. It's not just simply driving a truck. So are there other skills that are useful? It's like, it's really like when you have people from the military come home after serving. Like it's that question, like, how can I integrate into the workforce? Because like being involved in targeting of Russian whatever factories, and helping with telemetry data on these drones that are striking. Like, how can I use that information? Am I any good in the private sector? And I think here's the thing: the government, President Trump, the $100 billion that we're sending to Ukraine, the $300 billion that we're going to send to Iran, could we not use a portion of that, $2 million, $3 billion, to have programs that could actually move people from these jobs that are being replaced into some other workforce, some sort of a work program? I don't know. But we're going to need massive infrastructure built in this country. And whether it's some sort of a new Army Corps of Engineers program or a World War II FDR style program, I hate to say it, but we're in some crazy times right now, and there might be some large scale government infrastructure programs that could put a lot of these individuals to work. And I hate to say the expansion of government, but anyway, I'm just spitballing ideas. But I agree with you. These are the conversations we should be having right now, and I don't know that we have any answers. But for us to be focusing on this meaningless tripe that exists right now is not moving the needle forward at all. I don't see Fox News talking about these truckers that are about to be replaced and what is President Trump's plan for that. They're focused on the reflecting pool, or UFC fights at the White House. That's what they're most focused on. So I don't know. I think we are at a tipping point moment. You can feel it though, can't you? I mean, that I feel like we're as a student of history, I just have never felt this way before. I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. I've asked my audience this, and they all sort of agree with me. It's not a tangible something, but something is happening. I think we are, people, you want to call it the fourth turning or otherwise, but we are at a moment right now, a major shift in the United States of America. And I don't know what's going to happen the next few years. It's crazy.
Well, I'm going to try to let me try to package that with a different delivery here, what you're trying to say. And then I'll ask you a question with zero context whatsoever. And it'll kind of be like, when I assumed, when you assumed you knew what the commercial that you were going to be describing. It's going to be a similar thing. When you did that earlier, I feel like the enigma, I call it the enigma, which is, our politicians are doing everything that the voters don't like. It's like, that's what we're all living in right now. It's like, we're all kind of here in the country and we know what we like, we know what we don't like, and our politicians do everything we don't like. So it's like, we're kind of like in this weird enigma where the politicians don't represent us at all. They still pretend to represent us. The media is kind of still in this LARPing session, like our politicians represent us and are still, good faith politicians, when the average American is like, no, the whole system is corrupt. I don't trust any of them, and I don't like anything that they're doing. So it's like the political establishment is over here doing what nobody likes, but pretending like it's like everything is all good. And the voters over here like, I don't like anything you're doing, and nothing is good. And then the media is in the middle like, okay, yeah, everything's good, everything's fine, except this one thing, or maybe this one thing, but focus on this thing. And so it's like this giant enigma where everybody knows how corrupt things are, but there's no mechanisms, there's no vehicles to actually do anything about it. And that's why the Trump administration has been such a letdown. So here's my question with zero context at all. And really, you can I guess you could take this wherever you want, but it's kind of in the same spirit of what you were getting into. Like, we can feel it, we can sense it. There's something in our human spirit. There's something in our human intuition that's like, something big is coming here. This can't go on forever. So my question was zero context whatsoever for Clayton Morris of Redacted News. Are they going to hit us before or after the midterms?
Hit us.
No context. Just are they going to hit us before or after the midterms, Clayton?
I think it comes before the midterms. And how they hit us, I don't know. In what way they hit us, I don't know. But we still have massive amounts of propaganda that will hide the true intentions, or if we talk about a false flag, right? If that's what we're getting at.
Yeah, well,
that's what I see.
Well, let me give you a little context. Maybe it'll help you answer this better. I think that we are going to either have a false flag attack to get us into a larger war in the Middle East, or we're going to have some sort of a black swan event that is going to bring about the AI surveillance state. They could do an event that brings about both. Quite frankly, they could try to do the two birds with one stone thing, because these are the two things that are unpopular. I mean, let's just say what it is. The two biggest agendas right now of the Trump administration are turning the United States of America into an AI data center for a surveillance state, and giving Israel whatever it needs to complete their greater Israel project, whatever that entails. And so these are the two main focuses of Washington, D.C., and specifically the Trump administration. Neither of these things are popular. In fact, both of these things are extremely unpopular. So my question is, are they going to try to hit us with the event to try to flip the popularity on that before the midterms? Or are they going to try to go back to normal politics and pretend like, okay, we don't like this stuff, vote for us, we're not going to do the new wars, we're not going to do the data centers. And then after the midterms, then the event happens after they've got the votes, and then they go forward with the agenda.
I know the idea is we need another 9/11, right? We've heard that. We need another 9/11. Obviously, it ushered in a huge part of the military-industrial complex, solidified that, the surveillance state under the Patriot Act, you name it, right? FISA, all of it. Warrantless wiretaps, everything. So I know that the idea is that we need another 9/11 to rally the American people and to say, hey, in order for us to feel safe, we do need you to watch. We need flocking cameras on every corner. We need to turn into the United Kingdom. You're watching everything that we do. And by the way, everything that's happening online is all being tracked and traced, all of it. Here's the way I look at it, though. I think, I've been wrestling with this, I think it's already happening, and they don't need this big event in order as a catalyst. It's already happening. We covered on our show, we had Thomas Drake on the other day to talk about Google, the Google compliance and basically being an arm of the intelligence state through everything that you're doing through searches is now just, you could be swept in a criminal complaint just because you searched the address of Owen Schroyer or whatever. It doesn't matter. So I think it's already happening in such a large way that we're being fooled to think that we need maybe this big catalyst event for us to rally around this idea of safety. They're doing it and we don't like it. They're doing it now. And there's, you know what I'm saying? Like they're already doing it. They're rolling out 6G.
So I guess then the question would be, are they even going to bother trying to change our minds?
I don't know. Do they really care at this point? Do they really care about trying to change our minds? Because both parties, and if you believe in this idea of the strategy of tension, where both of these parties are a uniparty, then you can play good cop, bad cop, right? So you really can play one off the other, and the end is the same. There's no daylight between them. They both want a surveillance state. You might get little Thomas Masseys over here, you might get little outliers over here, but for the most part, they're in lockstep. And so it really doesn't matter. They can play one off the other. This is going to happen. They're going to roll out this biosurveillance state. In many ways, they already have with digital ID, the central bank digital currency, whatever this FedNow program, continues down the path of whatever happens with the U.S. dollar being backed by stable coins, so that you'll have to use that with your digital wallet. They'll track all of that. Cash will become irrelevant, which in many ways it already is. So I just want to, I feel like I see this big event coming, but I'm sitting back saying it's already here. They're rolling out 6G technology to be able to track everything we do, be able to track our body movement with 6G technology. They have us all taking these vaccines, or they have all these nanoparticles that are showing up in these, in these vaccines, trackable and traceable. With half the population taking these things in the biopharmaceutical complex. Graphene oxide, all of this stuff. So I'm less and less optimistic, sadly. I'm always a glass half full kind of person. That's how I've always been my whole life. But part of me now is do I have to move to Wyoming and be out in the middle of nowhere, far from a 6G tower and live off the land and be a homesteader, live like the Amish in order to truly be free of this? I don't know. So I just don't see, but maybe I'm wrong. They love false flag events. But I think now with alternative media, we've been able to call out these false flag events in a much bigger way.
Yeah.
And we've been able to call much more attention to them. Like, can you pull off a USS Liberty attack? Could you pull off the Lavon affair in Egypt like you did a number of years ago? Could you pull off the Gulf of Tonkin? Could you pull off Remember the Maine, the Spanish-American War?
Well, you know what? And I know we got to let you go here, but this is such an important point that you're making right now. And I want to make sure we're able to conclude it. And the answer, Clayton, the answer is already no. And I think the Israel example is the example of no, it's not. They really thought that Israel could engage in all of this activity in southern Lebanon, in Gaza, the West Bank, the Golan Heights, Syria, you name it. They really thought that Israel could engage in all of this stuff and it wouldn't make it back here to America. We wouldn't see the videos. We wouldn't see the reports. And obviously they've terribly mismeasured that. But Clayton, they're acting like we're not seeing it. And I think that this is where there's this huge gap in mainstream media. And maybe it's a generational thing. Maybe there's a bunch of different factors here, but they go on TV like you're not seeing the videos out of Gaza. They go on TV like you haven't seen that the entire country of Palestine has been leveled in a demolition, military style. They're assuming that you're not seeing the attacks on Christians in Lebanon and how they're destroying southern Lebanon and claiming it's self-defense. More kids. There's a Palestinian American that's being kidnapped. I mean, they're assuming that you, the American news watcher, that you're not getting any of this information, and they're acting as if you don't have it. And so they're sitting here telling you this stuff, and you're like, wait a second, I have this information. This is not accurate. So I think the answer is no, Clayton. The answer is no, they can't get away with it, but there's acting as if they are. They're on air every day acting as if they are getting away with it.
Well, and that's why they had to take away TikTok, right? That's why they have to try to take away alternative media and social media platforms and put it under ownership of these, I don't know, under like a few key owners that own and control the entire message, right? Because you're not going to see it on Fox News. Like Fox News is not going to do a deep dive report about Gaza. Like they've got their reporters who are embedded in Tel Aviv, so they're going to always tell the Israeli IDF side of the story. With their reporters. They're never going to do actual reporting from Gaza and like what it's actually like and these children being shot in the head and so forth. It's not going to happen. So those people though are being aged out. Like if I'm a glass half full kind of person, Fox News is not getting a younger audience. When I was there, the joke when I was at Fox News was that CBS had like their average viewer was like 77 years old. And so we at Fox, our average viewer is like late 50s, whatever at the time when I was there 10 years ago, back in 2017 is when I left. Now those people are all the same age as the people they were making fun of on CBS who were watching the CBS news. So now they're aging out. No young person is getting a cable subscription in order to watch Fox News or MS Now or whatever other propaganda channels are out there. They're turning to social media to get these videos, Telegram channels and so forth to get their news, or X. So... But I'm saddened because this information is out there. We all see it. And yet it's still happening. 30,000 kids still shot in the head and stomach. And, it's like it's still happening. Like we're watching this like televised genocide in many ways across social media. And it's incredibly disheartening. So they can get away with it. They're getting away with it in plain sight. And so that's why I just don't know that they don't need some big catalytic event because they're already getting away with it. And that's what's so disheartening. I mean, I try to be positive, but I just feel like
they're getting away with it for now. They're getting away with it.
Yeah.
The one thing I say as I kind of, go through these phases, I beg, if you will, I just beg the current administration and the boomer conservative neocons that are running it. I'm just like, can you just leave us with something? Can we just have something to fight for and build from when you guys are done? It's just leave us with something, anything, just like a grain of sand, a brick, a jar of clay, anything that we can build off of when you guys are done with it. Cause it seems like they're going to fleece us for everything they possibly can. All right. Clayton Morris of Redacted News. Great show every day. Clayton, let people know where they can follow your show. And if you want to, I've heard a rumor that you're also a classical gamer enthusiast and that there might be a hidden identity out there, that Clayton Morris might have a secret identity and a hidden channel where he plays classic games. Just a rumor. I don't know. You can deny it if you want, but I've heard things.
It's true. Well, I mean, I grew up, my dad, I would sit on his lap and he would, do basic programming on a giant, computer terminal. So I had a fascination with technology since I was a little kid, and he brought Pong home for the first time and I played Pong, so I always loved it. And if I got all my work done and chores done and mowing the lawn, I could play some video games and some retro games. So yeah, from time to time, I do have a channel, just my Clayton Morris, my personal YouTube channel, where I occasionally jump in and talk about things that are happening in the gaming space, things to take your mind off this crazy. Because you and I talk about like this, I need to take a break. I walk the dog, I go to the gym, I play guitar, but I need to sit down sometimes and just shoot some Nazis or, whatever.
Is that a Wolfenstein reference or what are we talking here?
Yeah, I don't even know, playing some old Call of Duty or something. Or what I just finished? I played an Indiana Jones and the Great Circle.
That's not really. I guess those are considered classics now. But
those are classics. But I play some new stuff too. I like to mix it up. So it takes my mind off the world to be able to play some platformers. But yeah, Redacted News is my main hub, our main YouTube channel, and I've got my little Clayton Morris personal gaming channel that I just kind of hang out and have some fun stuff on. So take my mind off this crazy world.
We may have to raid over there sometime. I may have to.
I love it.
Raid
I love it.
We all need a break, and I'm curious too. I'm going to kind of feel this out with my audience, and maybe we retouch base with this somewhere down the line. But I feel like this summer people need a break. Yes. Nothing is really going our way politically. I mean, I guess I can't say nothing. All right, fine, not nothing. But the overall movement is not really going the way we want. People are really they're just tuning out. I'm sure you're seeing that too. People are just tuning out. They're fed up. They're sick of it. They're numb to it. And they're kind of going back to that slop content. And I don't blame them I totally get it. I'm kind of feeling out my audience right now. I'm like, look, hey, if you guys want to break from politics, don't tell me twice. I'll do a show once a week that we don't even talk politics. We'll talk sports, gambling. I don't care. Anything else, movies, culture, just because people are so sick and tired of the same politics every day. But that's Clayton Morris, guys. Great show over there at Redacted. If you do want that 5% I'm telling you about, Redacted News is in that 5%. So if you are looking for good information, good talk, you can get it with Clayton Morris and Redacted. Clayton, always great to catch up.
Thank you, and great to see you, my friend. Much love.
You too. All right, there he goes. Folks, we are at the 6 o'clock on the dial. We're going to take a short break. Bonus time coming up. Don't worry. We're going to do some bonus time today. More content coming your way and super chats, but we're going to take a brief break here.
You're listening to the Owen Report on the Win Network.
It's your favorite podcaster's favorite podcast, The Owen Report with Owen Schroyer.
You know, we haven't even talked about this. Haven't even mentioned this. The Great American Fair. Oh, geez. The Great American Fair, where all the entertainment and musicians started dropping out. Now they're rescheduling it. Now Trump is going to be the main event. It's going to be another Trump campaign speech. Same crap you've heard for the last 10 years. Going to be another Trump campaign speech. And then actually, you're going to have a wonderful performance from top-selling country artist and FBI Director Kash Patel's girlfriend, Alexis Wilkins. It's going to be a performer there. What I gave him credit for the UFC 250 thing. That deal went off, I would say, as a success. So maybe I shouldn't get ahead of myself on the fair, but I have no interest. I'm not too. I don't know. I'm not really seeing any excitement. I'm not really seeing any buzz, and it's not like you have a UFC crowd that you know is going to go wherever you're at. So it's going to be Trump giving a speech. And I think that's supposed to start tomorrow. So, all right, we'll see. All right, do I want to get into anything else here that I have in the stack? It's kind of a lot of the same. Republicans bitching about the results last night, but they won't do anything to win the election. Let me just go through the stack, see if there's anything. I mean, it's all the Republicans. Hey, you need to vote for us. We're not Democrats. It's just like, okay. On and on and on. Same crap. Oh, radical Muslims. Oh, socialists. Oh, Democrats. Blah, blah, blah. You guys are in power. What are you doing? You're blowing it. You're blowing it. Yeah, it's all the same. It's all the different politicians, all the different pundits. Oh, and they're using Charlie now, too. They're using Charlie Kirk now, and they're finding all the clips where he's bashing Muslims, and they're saying, see, Charlie didn't like Muslims. See, Charlie wants you to vote for Republicans because they're not Muslims. It's just like, oh, my gosh, here we go. And, you know, and maybe I should do this. I've been compiling something. You know what? I'm not even going to say it because somebody else will do it instead. But it's about time for me to do something. It's about time for me to do something. Is there anything I want to cover? You know, this whole Brad Lander thing. So the Republicans and everybody complaining about anti-Semitism, the woke right, Brad Lander's Jewish. You know, it's actually funnier about the Brad Lander situation. Brad Lander is actually from St. Louis, and not too far from where I grew up. And I had some friends. He's obviously older than me. How old is he? I think he's like 50. Let's see. Let's see here. Born in 1969. So he's 20 years older than me. Brad Lander is Jewish. So, the anti-Semites voted for Brad Lander, who's Jewish. Just shut up. Just shut up with your woke right nonsense. No, Lander's from St. Louis. He went to Parkway North, a very, very Jewish area of St. Louis. A lot of Jewish people go to Parkway North. It's well known if you go to Parkway North. There's some inside jokes even in St. Louis. Parkway North, Ladue. So it's just funny watching them say that this is an anti-Semitic election result when Brad Lander, the guy that the people voted for, is actually Jewish. So enjoy the Parkway North St. Louisan New York. He's definitely got to be better than Goldman. That guy is like the worst. My goodness. So there you go. He graduated, guys, he graduated Parkway North 1987. For those that are getting deep into the St. Louis lore here. So, okay, you're an anti-Semite if you voted for a Jewish person. That makes sense. Totally normal stuff. Oh. Because we haven't heard this. So first, Randy Fine tells you America is going to collapse. Now you've got this guy, Ofer Bishnock. He's a self-proclaimed Zionist. He says the U.S. is finished, guys. The U.S. is finished. Why? What does that even bother to you? There's going to be nothing left for you guys to gut? It's like, here's Israel picking America apart, like taking out our liver, taking out our spleen, doing a blood draw. It's like they're the ones taking everything. They're the ones, they're the ones with us on the operating table, surgically killing us. And they say, oh my gosh, Muslims are killing you, as they literally have the knife on our neck with the blood drip going from us into them. Let's see. Oh, Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro says Tucker Carlson is trying to leverage the Republican Party into following him. Well, he left the Republican Party, so first of all, that doesn't even make sense. Secondly, no, that's what you're doing, Ben. It's Ben and the Israeli lobby that's trying to leverage the Republican Party for Israel's interest, and the rest of us are sick of it. And so we're abandoning the Israel First Party. And I've got more threats here from Israelis threatening to hit America. If we won't support their war with Iran, they're going to attack us with their secret weapons. This is literally what they're saying. And they're saying you will suffer. They're saying if you don't support Israel, that America will suffer. I can't believe Americans take this. A campaign worker, a guy that worked for a guy who knew Randy Fine for 12 years and worked his campaign, said he never wore his yarmulke until he got into Congress. He says he never saw him with a yarmulke on his head one time. His more than a decade of knowing him, he knew him for 12 years. He never put on a yarmulke until he went to Congress. So Randy Fine, total fraud. Let's see. How much more of this response do you guys even want? I'm just piling through this stuff. It's like, I'm stunned. So this is what you're going to witness now. The Democrats are about to turn Hassan Piker into a star. He's obviously already got a large following on social media. Now they've ingratiated him. They've turned him into a campaign boost operation, and it worked. And so now here's the Democrats taking Hassan Piker and using him as a Democrat star. And you're going to sit here and watch Hassan Piker get Democrats elected, and the Republicans are going to give you Dana Lesh, and the Republicans are going to give you Cam Higbee, and the Republicans are going to give you Mark Levin and Ben Shapiro. It's like right-wing, conservative American patriots. Like, we have so many young, charismatic, good-looking men and women, funny, smart, well-informed, good debaters. Like, we have such a strong talent pool on the right that you could pull from, and you could counter the Hassan Pikers. You could counter the Harry Sissons. You could counter the Dean Weathers. And instead they give you Breland Hollyhand. Because if you won't support Israel, you're not allowed in Republican Party politics. So all the young conservatives, all the young, charismatic, popular, fun conservatives that could actually move the needle on right-wing politics, that could actually get people out to vote and drum up some interest and drum up some excitement in Republican Party politics. But if you won't support Israel, they don't want you. So then you get Breland Hollyhand and the rest of the sloppers. You just get a bunch of sloppers. And they're going to give you, and so now you're going to watch Dean Withers and Piker and these guys, and they're going to rise to prominence because Republicans refuse to tap into their young talent pool. They refuse to tap in to the younger generational conservatives that are smart, charismatic, talented, funny. They will not tap into them because they won't sell out to Israel. And the Democrats are going to tap into all of that. They're going to tap into all of those generations. They're going to tap into all of that angst. And they don't care what these kids do. They don't care what Hassan Piker does on his own time. They don't care what Harry Sisson does. They don't give a damn. They're going to use them to win elections. And Republicans won't even touch you unless you're going to get on your knees to the foreign lobby. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. So, hey, whatever. What are you going to do? Now, I got to say, maybe we'll save this one for tomorrow. Brushewitz is at it again, guys. Brushewitz is at it again, and maybe his finest moment. I'm going to save that for tomorrow because I wouldn't be surprised. There'll probably be more. So we'll save that. Representative Anna Paulina Luna says there's going to be a D class on MK Ultra. Task Force on the Declassification of Federal Secrets presents MK Ultra hearing next Tuesday. So in 6 days, they're going to do a MK Ultra congressional hearing. It's all just, they don't do anything. Lauren Boebert, well, I think we got some news here for you guys. Lauren Boebert was hosting OAN last night. Lauren, you know, she's definitely got the look. She could definitely pull off the TV host. I think actually she maybe needs to tone it down a little bit. I would advise her tone it down a little bit on the hair and makeup. You don't need that much. You're good looking enough. You don't need to overdo it. They tend to overdo it in those TV studios. I'd go for a little bit more of the natural kind of library girl look on TV if I was her. She was hosting on OAN. Guys, I'm going to make a prediction. I think Boebert is ready to move on from politics, and I think she's getting ready to go into TV. And to OAN's credit, you know, they put Matt Gaetz on. That's whose show she was hosting. And so maybe Boebert is thinking, well, maybe this is the career path I take, get a TV gig, because I don't know if this politics thing is going to last long for me, considering what they did to Massey, what they did to Marjorie Taylor Greene, what they did to Nancy Mace. She probably figures she's next. So hosting last night, Lauren Boebert, is that a sign of things to come? I'm guessing. I'm guessing it is. The reflecting pool, guys, they put up fencing. So they put up fencing and an AI surveillance system all over the reflecting pool last night. So you had a total security state at the reflecting pool last night and AI security cameras. Now, I don't know the current status, but they did just sign another $1.7 million contract. Company owned by Trump donor won a $1.7 million no-bid reflecting pool cleaning contract. So the money is already pouring out. This thing is just a disaster. And I guess it's the same guy that did the original botch job. Probably not even his fault. He was probably forced to do the botch job with the pressure to get it done before the birthday party. Okay, reflecting pool disasters continue. 3 Florida counties ban AI data centers in one day. There's 2 other counties where it's on the ballot and about to go down. But 3 counties in Florida placed moratoriums on large-scale AI data centers. So the pushback against AI data centers from the people continues. Did you guys see this woman? She, I'll put this one up. She stole a trash can. They had these Knicks themed trash cans out in New York City after the championship parade. So she wanted to steal a trash can. I guess it's debatable. It's debatable as a keepsake. So she stole the old trash can there. Well, she is a DEI executive, or was a DEI executive at JP Morgan Chase, but she got fired. She got canned for stealing the trash can. How do you like that? We got puns. She got canned. Hope that trash can is worth it. Maybe it will be. I don't know, though. But you got canned in more ways than one. Have you guys seen this? Maybe I should quit politics and go into this industry. I might be better at it. Oh, Women turning to dark Tinder for sperm apps to swipe their way to motherhood. Some women are so desperate to become parents, they are heading to dark corners of the web to find sperm to get pregnant, sparking health fears. I got you. Don't go to a dark Tinder for sperm website. Don't go to some sketchy internet site, some sketchy app. Just hit me up. We can take care of it. No problem. One night, done. 1 for 1, it's over. All jokes aside, this is such a crazy phenomenon, and I'm kind of at that age now, mid-30s. Our friends, me and my friends talk about this a lot. The game has changed so much in the dating world, let's say. The game has changed so much, and it's very transactional. It's very pragmatic. And I think that that's just a sign of where it's at. And I don't know what, point to the different reasons why you think interrelationships, men and women and all the stuff, divorce rates, all the stuff, pick out whatever you think is causing it or all the different things. But it's like, this is now the byproduct that, instead of people that want to have kids actually just going out and having kids, they're looking for a transactional situation and a pragmatic situation, whatever my biological clock is ticking, or, hey, I just want to be a mom. And so they say, that's what I want. I don't know if I can get a boyfriend. I don't know if I can get married. I don't know if I want to, but this is what I want. Who would have seen that coming? Who would have seen that coming? And I think this is just the beginning, by the way. I think the whole dating scene is rapidly becoming stuff that you can't even really believe. Very strange. Delta to cancel 2 nonstop routes from Austin in October. So great. There are more flights getting canceled. Flights are even going to be more of a pain in the ass than they already are. Let's see if there's anything else. Oh, last night, guys, the NBA draft is so rigged. Oh my gosh. This is hilarious. So last night, the Spurs drafted Jaden Quaintance and Terrace Reed. Now, I don't know much about this Jared guy. Young guy, had a lot of upside, has injury issues. So maybe they get a good deal there. Terrace Reed Jr. falling to the Spurs at 26, guys, is absurd. This is a total rig job. I think the Spurs are about to run off a couple title runs, and I think the NBA is behind it. Look, you never know. You look at NBA drafts, you really never know. Sometimes players hit, sometimes they don't. Look at Jokic, look at some of the other guys drafted. You just never know. But every once in a while, there's a guy that you know is NBA ready. Every once in a while, there's a player, maybe you don't know the ceiling, but you know right now, bottom line, you can put him on an NBA floor, and he's going to produce. Terrace Reed is one of those guys. Terrace Reed is maybe one of like 5 or 10 guys that can step on an NBA floor and produce right now. And somehow he falls to the Spurs at 26, a team that needs a big man, a team that needs a defensive big man, a team that needs a third big man to come off the bench in relief. And he falls to the Spurs at 26. I mean, come on. So congratulations to the Spurs. That's got to be a rig job. There is no way Terrace Reed falls to 26 in the NBA draft. No way. That's a top 10, should be top 5. But he falls to the Spurs. Magic, guys. Magic. Do you know who Millie Alcock is? Well, she's the girl playing Superwoman, or Supergirl, I guess. She was on Fallon last night. I don't know. She doesn't really have it. I don't get it. I really don't get it. Why did they spend so much money on this movie that is like a guaranteed flop? I'll give it a chance. She seems sweet enough on Fallon. She doesn't have the it factor. It just isn't there. We'll see. I'll give the movie a chance. It's not doing it for me. Let's see. Let's just, we can probably do the rest of this tomorrow. Nothing too pressing today. We got super chats we got to get to anyway. And I don't think I have any guests tomorrow, so we're wide open. So let's go to the super chats. All right. As we do every day at the end of the show, we go to your YouTube super chats. Guys, thank you for all the super chats. Thanks to everybody that follows on YouTube. Please, guys, give us a follow on YouTube. The Owen Report on YouTube really means a lot. Help us build that channel. It's the #1 place where we can grow right now. So that's the case. I want to take advantage of it. Oh, we're live. Oh, we're live. America 250 Fair has actually begun. Alexis Wilkins is performing right now. We should pause this transmission. We should stop everything because this is the big moment. This is the star power. It's actually happening tonight. What a flop. Not that. That's probably a flop too. Okay. America 250. Everybody's tuning out, guys. Another Goy election. Another bust. Das Vaults. Ken Rose, thank you. Drake, the big question is the you-ish question. Did you see Jesse Waters? He said the Jewish question on the 5, and there was like total panic. He was just making a joke, but you're not even allowed to say it. It's like Voldemort, like, oh my gosh. Drew Liberty, I'm not sick of the Laura crash outs, though. I can't. That's total mute job over here. I can't do it. It gets to a certain point because, I cover media, so I have to follow this stuff. It gets to a certain point where I just mute you. I just can't do it. So most of the Israeli lobbyists, I just mute now. But you still have to follow it and see the propaganda they're shoving at the American people. But yeah, you just mute it. So I don't even know the crash out she's doing. I guess we played a clip of her the other day. She's threatening another 9/11, right? Yeah. Wifey, you say political play-by-play too much. Keep yapping about the sun rises instead. Feral Unit. Falar Unit? I like Feral Unit better. Just deal with it. Hey, don't forget to like and subscribe. Win Network is the place to be. Doing my job for me. Feller Unit? Fella Run It? I could translate this a million different ways, I feel like. Hey, thank you for that. Subscribe on YouTube, guys. Thank you. Check Owen's political bat for cork. No PEDs here, no corked bats here, no juiced balls here. This is all natural. This is all natural American beef. American home runs. Why all the boomer Republicans shocked that young people vote for socialism when they can't afford houses, cars, or even kosher groceries? Dr. Phil Schroyer. Yeah, that's one way to put it. It's just like, what do you expect? But it's beyond that. Most of these people would otherwise probably not be socialists, but they see that the U.S. government can spend hundreds of billions of dollars on foreign interests at the drop of a hat. So it's like, well, where's our cut? You're not just going to steal our money and give it to the foreign interests. Like, where's our cut? It's crazy. Owen, you live in a red state. Second Amendment is trampled in on blue states. I can't get LTC because of DUI when I was in college. Yeah, well, you know what? That is a Second Amendment violation. And it's absurd that you can't sue and have people arrested for that clear violation of your Second Amendment. Ridiculous. Dre Bay, you predicted the MAGA fracture before Trump took office. How? Yeah, I called that one, didn't I?
And that's another home run from the great Babe Ruth.
If I told you, you wouldn't believe me. Actually, Elon Musk said it, but it's true. I'm a time traveler. I'm a time traveler. That's how I did it. Secret's out now. There it is. Give it up, Owen. Votes don't matter anyways. Anna, well, they matter for something. Otherwise, people wouldn't spend hundreds of millions of dollars for them. The final vote scan should be allowed to mutate. I think it does. Justine, ID gaff anymore. I've given Trump my support since 2015. He's shown his true colors. Both sides suck. Let me know when the revolution pops off. I'll tap back in. Well, Justine, let me tell you something. The revolution can start anytime you want. Starts in your own heart, starts in your own mind, starts in your own body. It's your own revolution. Have your own revolution. Get better than you are today. Get fitter, get better looking, get smarter, get wiser, acquire more wealth, whatever you can do. That's the revolution. It's a personal revolution now. And then if there is anything else that gives us an opportunity to save this country, then you'll be ready. Then you'll be prepared. But right now, the revolution is all here. The revolution is all here. It's all here, and it's all here. That's the revolution right now. So get on the train. Red Menace Guru here for Carlin. Carlin was fun. Thank you for being here. Freddie Jones Jr. Shulai Egar was absolutely furious that you've been talking about him. He said, do something or shut up. So this is some sort of a troll. I don't know what this is. I'm kind of curious now that it keeps coming up. I guess I should look it up, but I'm afraid to look it up. Because I have no idea what that is. So it keeps coming up. Here's another one. Voltaire. Are you guys the same person? Oh, and why have you been talking so much smack about Shuli Egar? What did he ever do to you? So what is this troll, guys? Can somebody tell me what's going on with this? Am I missing something here? Is the joke on me? That's fine. Have a laugh. I'm trying to figure it out. I think you can do better with guests. Masonic checkerboard, 2 mask artwork, moon tats. Well, she's trying to blend in and be a leftist. So I think you got to give her some grace there. And she's probably gotten deeper inside these leftist networks than anyone else. Zackaback, the lady's a crank. Democrats are right-wing party, no actual socialists in governmental power. The left's not militant at all. Ask any real lefties. Well, that's an interesting thing to say. I mean, we all saw the Black Lives Matter riots. We all saw the Antifa activities. And socialists are very much in power. I mean, you're kind of already in a socialist country. Hate to break it to you. But when non-citizens can come here and immediately get on welfare, you're living in a socialist country. Fetterneck is MAGA now. Fetterneck might become a Republican. He might be forced to change party affiliations. Wouldn't surprise anybody. Ivan, the only socialist policy I'd support is universal single-payer Medicare for all, but I don't believe our federal government is smart enough to run it. I'd just be content with having AIPAC and AI defeated. Well, those are the 2 big issues. Those are the 2 big issues they're trying to shove at us, and those are the 2 big issues we're trying to reject. This is the political struggle of 2026. Look, I'm not for government anything. I'm not for socialist anything. I'm not for government health care. I want everything in the private sector, or at least as much as we can possibly have. I'm a free market capitalist. I'm a free market capitalist, but we put free market in front of that because in the free market, you can do whatever you want. In free market, you can be a socialist, you can be a communist, you can do whatever you want. If you want to be in the free market, if you want to form a commune with your friends and pool your money and pay for everybody's stuff, then you can do that in the free market. If that's your prerogative. So it's not even, it's an issue of, like I said earlier, if I have 2 options and it seems like I only have 2 options, the only 2 options I have, we're either going to spend $500 billion on another war in the Middle East, or we're going to spend $500 billion to give Americans health care. Yeah, I'm going to vote for the health care. Sorry. I'd rather have none of it. I'd rather not get taxed and forced to pay for these things like a slave to the special interests. But I am, unfortunately. That's my status. A slave to the foreign and special interests. So if I have to choose where is all of our money going, I would much rather have that going to benefit Americans than overseas for another special foreign interest war. How does Bongino not realize this is a self-own? Brother, yeah. A lot of this cell phone is just right over their head, just gone. Ken Rose, I disagree. It's not the libertarians are poorly organized. The same organization that funds the foreign lobbies are funding Antifa and the far left. And how much of that is government money? I wonder. Same organizations, same people even at times. Elf-centric. Why bring on a guest that said she's an anarcho-capitalist? That's why the right loses, because you people advocate for the rule of merchants. I don't really. I think you're jumping to some conclusions here that so I can't talk to other people that have different economic views or policies, and the right loses because of that conversation. What? Okay, sorry. Jeez. I think we're gonna do. People are demanding chimp out energy. I'm getting a lot of demands for chimp out energy, I have to tell you. American feelings of Israel are being reflected in the reflecting pool. Swampy, gross, rejected, failure. What are we saying? BB Benko. Remembered, you said Trump accounts are a potential scam. Opted in for my son before you shared your opinion. Should I continue the process? Well, I don't know. Now that you're in. But isn't it all based on the stock market anyway? And so the stock market, I believe, ended up in the red today. Mine was not good. Tech was way down today. Gas was up. Tech was down. I think there'll be another pump, but I don't know. I don't know how the whole thing works. Can you just pull out if you're up? Is it like any other account? Is it like a Robinhood deal? I don't know. It might deliver for you. It's just the stock market. You're literally just investing in the stock market through a Trump account. You might as well just get a Robinhood account and you can just do it yourself. I guess the Trump account, they're claiming that they're going to get you the biggest return possible on the stock market. But it's really just a pump. That's all it is. But I don't know. As far as should you continue, I don't know enough once you're in. So I just don't want to answer that because I just don't know. I don't want to give you bad advice. Why is wifey more right-wing than hubby? Who says? That's just like your opinion, man. If Trump delivered on his promises and mandates, socialism wouldn't be winning. Bingo! Nailed it! We've been naughty goy, and now we're getting hit. That's right. We have been bad goy, and so we're going to be punished. We're going to be punished. If the strait is closed for 4 more weeks, 9/11 looks like child's play. I'm beginning to think that this is a reality. I'm beginning to think that the hope I had last week actually was the reverse of the reality. And it's actually really, 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 really bad. And of course, the one issue here is Israel is not going to stop the death and destruction. And so there's never going to be a deal. And they're going to force us to go boots on the ground. Much better guests and no army of simps. I do think I want to do more guests now since it's the whole Groundhog Day thing and maybe just getting other people on here, getting fresh opinions. I'm trying to keep the show good. I'm trying to keep the show something you want to tune into every day. And I'm just afraid that if we're sitting here covering the same stuff and it's just me, you guys are going to get a little sick of the redundancy. So I'm trying not to do that to you guys. So if it's having more guests, covering different topics, whatever it takes, but it's ultimately, I'll go wherever you guys want, really. We can do anything here. We can do whatever we want. We can do it all. That's what we are. Extra dimensional, multi-universal. America is down in the dumps. Not the socialists. They're having a blast. Isn't that nice? The socialists are having a blast in Trump's America. Go figure. Make all forms of trucking fully autonomous is a really bad idea. Yeah, I don't like making anything autonomous. I'm not a fan of the autonomous civilization. I'm not a fan of the autonomous society that we're going into. Not a fan at all. But that is where they're taking us. DMT posting clips during a live. What is this? Yeah, I don't know. He knows now. He knows better than to do that. What is he doing? I don't like that. Oh, thanks, babe. That's nice. All right, you can come off the couch now. Samantha Jones, have you ever been to Montana? We went last week. Very interesting. Everyone was white except for 2 wealthy Asians, and every city felt very safe. Well, what does that have to do with skin color? Jeez. No, I don't believe I have been to Montana. I've been to Idaho. I've been to Boise. I don't think I've been to Montana. I've heard some good things, But Montana is where everybody's going now to get away from it all. How can Tucker leverage with no influence? Right. Yeah, well, that's the irony. Tucker has no influence. Tucker's influence is going to cost us the midterms. These people, they're just such frauds. They're just such phonies. What's going on right now? Are you all right? Are you okay? I've married Latinas in the past, or you've Elon Musked Latinas in the past. Is that what we're getting at here? Trump's DOJ goes harder after tiny hat criticizers and reflecting pool paint chip collectors than the deep state Trump promised to arrest. I think that just about sums it up. DZ, how can anyone not say F Trump by now? If you won't give a legit good reason not to, we'll send a rebuttal response on tomorrow's super chat. Let's clean up the, I'm having trouble even reading this. Are you asking me? I have no idea. Help me out here. Well, I'll just say this. The show I did last week, I think it was Wednesday, where I was, more hopeful than I've been in a while. That is the most pushback I have ever gotten from any show I've ever done. And that's saying a lot. I've done what? Probably like 2,000 shows. So I've never seen pushback like that. I mean, the anti-Trump right is even bigger than I thought, actually. The vitriol is even worse than I thought. That was like 80%. That was like most of our videos get like, we're like 99%. We get likes, like 99% to 1% like-dislike ratio. That was like the one video that had a lot of dislikes. People really got mad that I would have any faith or hope in Trump. I mean, they were not happy. I saw it. It's all right. TSN Teddy. Something is happening here, guys. I have no idea. Shuley is a huge Zionist. He sends his minions out to troll people he considers part of the woke Reich. So, yeah, I noticed that you have all of these like propaganda agents popping up in the chat now. So, I mean, that's fine. But I don't know what that, I guess is it supposed to be funny? I mean, is somebody having a laugh at least? Somebody getting a laugh out of this? Is it entertaining anybody? Because nobody here has a clue. COVID taught me I want to use healthcare 0 times. Calling me man was bait. You all right? You going to make it? Justin Clearwater, winners in Montana, get rid of them, -40. Yeah, see, that's why I can't go north. I am not a winter person. I am very much a summer person. I actually enjoy the heat. I actually enjoy the sun. I like the summer. I'm like, I have zero interest in winter. I don't even like it in the 40s. I'm not even a fan of that. So yeah, Montana probably not for me. Probably not for me. All right, that's going to do it, guys. That's it for today's transmission. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Remember, guys, give us a follow on YouTube, The Owen Report on YouTube. Hey, if you want to listen to the audio archives, The Owen Report is available on iTunes, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. We sign off for now. We take a 20-hour break. We'll be back, same time, same channel tomorrow. Hey, big U.S. soccer game tomorrow night. Big U.S. soccer game tomorrow night. And with all the energy and hype from the Trump fair in D.C., can you imagine the patriotism rising? All right. God bless, Godspeed, good night, and good luck.